My family abandoned me after I took a paternity test, and now they want back in my life. What do you think OP should do?
Oh man, this is kind of tough. I'm guessing that the paternity test that OP took caused a nuclear level explosion in the family.
Oh, you are actually not fully part of this family.
Yeah.
Like you're like an affair child. That's what I'm imagining.
I'm going to guess with no context, as we do every title, that OP might be better served just going off and investing in themselves, living their own life. And maybe they don't need this crazy family harassing and haranguing them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, what should you do?
Leave.
You should leave.
Yep.
That's
leave.
what I'm going to guess with no
contact.
context.
Yep. But let's get into the story. So turns out insane says, great.
Truly.
username. Yeah. 4 years ago, Dad found out my mom had a lifelong affair, more than one, but that's another story.
Ouch.
He knew about a couple affairs she had in the past and forgave her for hanging in there for the kids, moving on, yada, yada. But that time, 4 years ago, he found out me and my two siblings might not be his kids, considering the time of the affair.
I forgot to add this in there. He is 18, so that was whenever he was 14.
Got it.
Okay.
Right. So he was a minor. Now he's a legal adult.
This was the first time we all heard of moms, well, everything really. Yikes.
Ew.
So at 14, they found out their mom was slanging.
Ooh.
There was a whole DNA thing, and it turned out my siblings were my dad's, and I was not.
Oh.
Cool, right?
Oh, OP. It's tough.
So Dad leaves mom, divorces her, moves out, and guess, do you think the dad takes all the kids?
Oh, no.
Or only some particular kids?
Dad abandons OP.
Takes both my siblings with him, not me though.
OP.
Which I understand, like, you know, this is a terrible thing that this father has found out.
Yeah.
But in all of the stories that like this has happened and there's been a good father, the father's like, hey, I thought of you as my kid for 14 years.
Yes.
You are my child and I will treat you as such, even
100%.
though that you're not blood. So Dad, a-hole move, I
A-hole.
think, for sure. I stay behind with mom, who hits a new low finding herself alone. And we both become pretty much outcasts as far as most of the family is concerned, which is like tough because OP only has his mom, but his mom is like, the affair is the reason all of this is happening. My older brother was particularly mean to me. We were really tight before, and the shit he did to me, I swear, had I been bigger at the time, I would have punched him hard more than once. I don't want to get into the details because I can't, since I could be recognized. But stuff happened and I got a DNA test again, and it turns the F out. DNA number 1 was messed up, and I am my dad's kid.
Oh my gosh.
I think this is a OKOP after 2,600 stories first in 26.
Because DNA tests are like 99.99% of the time, right? But that's like when the test is done correctly. It could have been like a mix up.
Yeah, bad DNA sample,
or like a clerical error where someone just mixes up test samples.
OP is the 0.01%, which, like, hey, if you multiply that by like 7 billion people,
yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Yep.
Wow.
That's a 1 in 1,000 chance.
Golly.
Now, I don't need legal advice on this. Grandpa is the man, always had my back. We got a lawyer and are looking to settle, but Dad wants back in my life. Brother is calling and wanting to meet up and talk and shit, and I don't effing want to. I want these people out of my life. Mom already forgave everyone. She is going on a date with my dad, and I feel sick, but not my business, right? So I guess like the mom and dad are trying to fix things.
Wow.
I wish them both good effing luck, but I want none of it. Only nobody leaves me be. I keep hearing that they're family and I have to hear them out and give them a chance or I'll regret it later. And that the only reason I won't talk to them is because I'm a teen and stupid or some other explanation. So give me some perspective, please. Do I sound unreasonable when I say thanks, but F no thanks? And there is a big, juicy double update. So there's not one, but 2 updates.
Wow.
But John, what do you think? I want to know from all of you guys, like, what do you think? Do you think OP would be the a-hole for basically saying, I don't want anything to do with you. You abandoned me?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not the a-hole. The ball is now in OP's court. You abandoned him, right? You raised him. He did nothing wrong to you guys.
And also they were for sure the a-hole because like the what we've seen in scenarios like this where there was a good father is they're like, I thought of you as my kid for 14 years.
Yeah.
Like you are my kid.
The crazy thing is you were going to raise him to like 18 until adulthood anyways. You already had that expectation. Why not just support him until,
And he's not the one that did anything wrong to you.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He's not the one. Like you said, ball is in OP's court, can do whatever he wants.
Yes. But
But I want to read some relevant comments before I get into the first update. So Hojo says, yeah, I don't really understand. If they literally grew up together, they are brothers. Why would you act rudely and hateful towards someone that has no control over something? Maybe the father had something to do with it. OP responds, I would love to answer this. After 4 years, my best guess is that he blames me for breaking up our family. Dad had no problem with mom cheating. He said it himself. He forgave her a bunch of times. The bastard kid, though, he could not forgive.
Disgusting.
So it was my fault, and my brother effing hated me for it. And now I hate him right back.
That is very helpful context. F him even more. How did he let the mom slide? And when she did all the wrong, and punished him when he did nothing. That's insane.
Yeah, agreed. And then Phobos55 says, you're 18. If your mom is pushing this shit too, start saving up, get your own place. No one needs to know the address. A new phone number is pretty easy to get to. And then OP responds, I don't live with her anymore. Been at my grandfather's for a little while now, so living arrangements are cool.
Good.
But the phone is a great idea. And then OP is asked, is your grandpa the one that wants you to give them a chance? And OP responds, nah, grandpa hates dad. He has this saying that goes, when a ship is going through a storm, men try to keep everyone safe and steer it clear. Rats just want to stay someplace dry.
That's fire.
Banger,
That's a
banger bar. Old man always had my effing back. A while back, he gave me Witcher 3 and a PS4 for my birthday. Older brother flipped out because my grades weren't good, so I didn't deserve it and stole the damn thing. Oh. Grandpa went over to my dad's at 11 p.m., got the thing back and said next time he'd call the cops on my brother. Grandpa and dad haven't spoken since.
Let's go, bro. Grandpa, the GOAT.
Grandpa's the OG. And there's one more. So OP's asked, is it all possible that the main reason they're really reaching out is the settlement? Because OP's suing because of what they did. And OP says, that's what my grandfather thinks. I don't know, because dad has enough money. He wouldn't need this. I think it can be more him not wanting me to sue him as well. Lawyer says I can, and maybe dad wants to prevent things from going there. So it could be the only reason they're being nice is to avoid a lawsuit.
Wow. Disgusting.
So bad.
Disgusting behavior.
So
unacceptable.
bad. Do you have any conspiracies for what you think the dad and the brothers are going to do?
Well, let's put on the tinfoil hats and rock our conspiracies off. Broadly speaking, I think they're going to do it by any means. They seem like just terrible people doing whatever they want to benefit themselves and whatever they believe is right.
Yeah.
So
the fact that the dad and the brother are ostracizing OP, who did nothing.
So, and defending the mom and like letting the mom have, it's just so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're going to do by any means. A conspiracy guess, maybe forge some sort of court legal evidence of OP saying like, it's all good. I forgive you. We don't need to go through with it. Maybe forge something.
Let's get into the update and see what really happens. All right. So update 1. I've been really annoyed lately because a lot of people around me keep saying I'm a crazy teen and I'll regret it. But grandpa made a point that I need to stop trying to decide how I'll feel in the future, because truth is, you can never know. You have to make decisions now based on the feelings and information you have now.
Love this grandpa.
Dude, this grandpa's great.
Love him.
Not based on feelings and info you might have later. Right now, I'm disgusted by my dad and my brother. I want nothing to do with them. I don't trust them. And I even think there's a chance they might be doing this / reaching out just for optics and money, which I think could be very true. If my feelings change, I will deal with that when they do. Cross the bridge when I get to it and all. I wasn't really going to post an update on this because I don't see the point. My story's kind of over, but something happened yesterday and I wanted to share. So I decided to stand by my no, I don't want to talk to them. I'll be moving to another city soon and decided to change my number. Grandpa is the only one who will be having the new one. I asked him not to share, and I know he won't. He's a retired cop, so he's really badass and has zero patience for bullshit. My new number is safe. I'm just liking the grandpa more and more.
Legend. Absolute legend.
He called my mom and told her that from now on, if anyone wanted to reach me, they'd have to go through him.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson is my grandpa.
So mom showed up at his place. I've been living with him for a while and tries to talk to me, but grandpa says she has to talk to him first.
Yeah.
So he can decide whether she is allowed to talk to me or not. Lol. So mom goes insane and starts telling him that it's none of his business, that this goes between me and my dad. So my grandpa goes something like, if anybody shows up at my lawn to disturb the boy, I'll get the cops a restraining order and a shotgun.
Oh, another thing to note, this is OP's grandfather on his mom's side.
So he's saying this to his daughter.
daughter.
Some real G stuff going on right here.
It goes on for a while until mom says, I'm not the only family grandpa has, and that by doing this, grandpa is pushing everyone away and splitting the family. He has other grandchildren. Why is he picking just one? And so on. So grandpa effing laughs and tells her that through no fault of his, this family blew up long ago, and everyone just grabbed a piece of what was left and ran for it. He looks at me and says, I'm his piece. So he's not letting go and F it.
Hey, come on. Wow.
Dude, grandpa's saying nothing but bars.
Just this man is a living legend.
Also, I feel like everyone abandoned OP, really.
Everybody.
I mean, maybe the mom didn't as much, but like definitely the dad and the brothers. And it feels like, and it felt like grandpa is the only one who stood by while OP was just being told that he was being selfish and like a kid.
Yes.
And so, no, I think the other reason is like no one was on OP's side. No one was in his corner. And someone had to stand up and say like, hey, I'm going to help this kid out.
I'm so happy because, I mean, this happened when he was 14. He's now 18 or whatever.
Imagine going through this alone without the grandpa.
Awful.
Oh, so
awful.
bad.
Shout out to grandpa.
I was feeling like laughing up to this point because mom was going crazy and all. But when he effing said that, I broke. Mom left after a while and I just hugged my old man like life depended on it. And he just said something like, enough now. No need for that. I'm your family. Family doesn't leave. You remember that when you have one of your own, and I effing will. Damn.
He's just too good.
He's just too good.
He's
like
good.
Old school, like good, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
old school good.
like
yeah.
old school tough, just tough love, but like in the love part.
He's
you know?
tough,
and he's
but he loves. It's not even tough. Yeah, it's not even tough love.
He's tough and he loves.
He's tough for the people he loves.
Yeah.
Made me cry.
Right.
So edit, before I forget, some people were asking about what my siblings were like. Well, my older brother stole/took that was mine or supposed to be mine. He lied to me and about me. And now the innocent kid lie, but effed up shit that ruined relationships I had friends with, family, even a girlfriend I cared about. He was a huge bully for years, even hit me once. Mom said he's going through a lot too. And dad couldn't care less and just protected him. Grandpa told him if he ever hit me again, he would break brother's teeth in. I guess he believed him because he never touched me after the one time. Younger brother is cool. I'd rather not talk about him here. And another edit, I read the comment section to grandpa. I had to explain what OG is. And he now wants to watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Oh.
But we thank you for all the love. I guess maybe he's giving what's
White.
no, not Walter White. What's the guy? Mike Ehrmantraut. Yeah, he totally gives Mike Ehrmantraut. Reading the replies on my first post, he just said, the internet is very smart. Reading the replies on this update, he got a little emotional and left saying he had stuff to do. But he got a beer, came back, and asked if there were more people saying stuff. The comment comparing him to Clint Eastwood made his day. Thanks for the love, guys.
I'm in love with this grandpa.
Yeah, I love how he's like about to break down and like get emotional and cry. And he's like, "One sec, let me get a beer."
Now, what are the people saying?
So, update 2. It is an act of God, and I still remember the password to this throwaway. But F, guys, people, you're not going to believe this. I don't effing believe this. The lab didn't make a mistake on my results. What they did is they mixed the results of all children. I am my dad's biological son, but my older brother is not. Which is effing weird because he looks like my dad. Maybe mom has a type. Turns out it was his lab result stuff, whatever, with my name on it. He will be triple checking it now with another lab, but I mean, fuck. The settlement has a confidential disclosure clause, something on details, so I will not be speaking about this ever again, because it's damn good money. So shush. But I had to share this because effing lol. If anybody is keeping score, I now believe in karma.
Holy crap.
Bro, that paternity test clinic should be put out of business.
Please. Like,
bro, you can't be messing
you
stuff
really,
like this.
bro, you
it tears
cannot.
families apart.
You gotta 99.9. I know you gotta be 100% on top of your.
Holy moly.
What an insane twist of events.
Dude, I wonder what will happen. Like, what will the dad do when he finds out the older kid? Like, will he abandon him too?
Well, he's over 18, so he's probably on his own now.
Well, but
will he like emotionally abandon him? You know?
Yeah.
It's just like Harry Potter, but if his parents were alive. No, it's not anything like that.
But it's also, dude, it sounds like OP got money, like got good hush money.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it feels like everything worked out for OP. I mean, well, okay, to be clear, your family imploding is not things working out, but post-family imploding, things kind of worked out for OP.
Yeah, like the best case scenario,
in terms
given
of
the
justice.
given the initial
Justice was dealt
Justice
that
was
day.
served.
Justice rained down and put that justice dong on the floor and just destroyed the world with it. Just
laid it down
and flopped it around like Godzilla.
12 inches of justice on the table.
Yeah, just freaking destroyed the town with it. Well, let us know what you think.
I told my friend that his kid isn't his. Was I wrong for that? Producer Riley, Big Protein, do we think that the friend was wrong for this? I think this is kind of a...
Yeah, a little iffy.
What do you think? What do you think?
First question that goes in my head, was the friend happy?
About hearing the news?
No. Is he just happy in general?
Oh, in general. That's the thing is, do you want to kill the vibes? You know, if the friend is just...
If you're a party pooper, dude, you were definitely in the wrong.
Bro, you're not a party. At this point, you go from party pooper to life diarrhea.
Yeah.
Like you are diarrheaing all over this person's life because the fabric of everything they know and their child that they love is all false.
He's literally going to look at his life differently now.
Yes. And the life that he created a little differently now.
Does he?
Or didn't create.
Does he look at his life differently?
I mean, you would have to, right? If your child's not yours.
I don't know.
I mean, you could still raise the child as your own, but like still be like, dang, this isn't my child.
Well, how do we know?
Well, there's only one way to find out. Man, Riley was egging me on there, but this story comes from Throwaway, a bunch of numbers. They say, Throwaway, since my buddy's girlfriend knows my Reddit, I don't even know how to start. I wouldn't know either, but here it goes. Me and my buddy are both in our mid-20s. We work as engineers for the same company, and we've known each other since high school, and he's pretty much my best friend.
Okay, let's just imagine you and I, it's you and I. We're engineers. We're going through
We're
this.
at this company. Okay, wow.
Who has a kid? Who has a kid?
Damn, this made
Do I
it
have the
personal.
kid, or you have the kid? Who wants to have the kid? I want to have the kid.
Let's give you the kid. Let's give you the kid.
Yeah,
All right. We played a couple rounds of Counter-Strike tonight and we're talking via Discord. His girlfriend works as a nurse at the night shift sometimes, and we usually use this time to game.
Time out. Get the red flag out.
Oh, fuck. Wait. What's going on, Riley?
She's a nurse.
Bro, what are you
That's the
talking
red flag.
about?
Dude, did you not know that the number one profession of people that cheat are nurses?
Google this fact right now. What the hell are you talking about? What is this fact? I have never heard this a day in my dang life. Why would that be?
Healthcare.
Okay, so Riley just pulled up professions most likely to cheat. Can you scroll up to see the percentages?
Sorry.
Healthcare, 12.5%. Transportation and logistics, 9.8%. Hospitality and event management, 7.7%. That's the top three. So healthcare. What? Yeah. What is the reason?
I think plumbers or electricians. No, but I saw like a little like Instagram thing that was like, if she's a nurse.
Oh, so you believe everything you see on Instagram now, do
look
you,
at
Riley?
this. Look at this. They're not wrong. All right, roll to the bottom.
Are you telling me you believe everything you see in a podcast clip, Riley? Who could believe a podcast?
Well, it says nurses. They said nurses, but now this is saying different. It's saying tradesmen. Women, it says the top 12 most likely to cheat. Number 1, women, medical.
So it seems we're corroborating from multiple sources that like healthcare is the number one profession for women specifically to cheat.
Well, I mean,
I didn't
honestly,
know that. I didn't
like
know that.
good for them. They're working long hours.
Bro.
I don't know how the frick they're working 12-hour shifts and also getting freaky and stuff for them. Like nurses, I love you. I'm not really blaming. I'm not judging them.
Honestly, listen, if you're mending people back to health, you deserve to get your back broken. Am I right? Come on. You're someone's broken leg, you're mending that, get your back broken. I am here for as long as you're not cheating.
Yeah. That's something to keep an eye on, and that's the first red flag.
Wow, okay. Riley with the surprise red flags. Now, all of this was the usual stuff. After the game, we decided to take a quick break for a couple of minutes, so we did the usual chit chat. We somehow talked about school and how both of us never really enjoyed their time there as we grew up. We had both been bullied for being nerdish back in our school days. My buddy says that he hopes his daughter, who is 3, female, will have a much nicer time later in school and high school compared to him. It got to the point where we talked about all the unimportant stuff we learned while we were there. Well, for me, I've always disliked biology classes as I hated the teacher back then. I mean, really hated them. As I said jokingly to my buddy, trying to sound like my old teacher, the only things my 6th grade biology teacher taught us were mitochondria are the power plants of the cell, and you can tell if your mama cheated by your eye color.
Powerhouse of the cell. You didn't even get that right.
It's not?
It's mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell.
So they got it right? Or
no, they said power plants. I don't know what plants mean.
That's funny.
Anyways.
I guess different terminology, but yeah. My buddy laughed at this point and said, really, the eye color? And I said, yes, apparently. My buddy says, how?
How, man? How is that
I
true?
see you in the comments. If you see with your eye colors what is about to go down. Me. Well, take me, for example. I have blue eyes and so does my sister. Apparently, blue eyes are what you call a recessive gene. If one parent has blue eyes and the other has brown eyes, there's only a small chance for your child to be born with blue eyes. Well, my parents both have blue eyes of their own, so it would be more than unlikely for me to have brown eyes. My buddy said, the more you know. Then he paused for a second. Then he said, be right back. Gotta make sure the little one is sleeping now.
This is what he's doing.
Or are you opening her eyelids to like...
Gotta check on this real quick, guys.
After that, he returned roughly a minute later, and I could hear him almost sobbing. Me and my girlfriend also have blue eyes, but my daughter doesn't. Bro. Wow.
Oh,
so this is unintentional. This was unintentional. It wasn't like, hey, let me like drop the truth on you. I'm kind of surprised that, I mean, maybe
he's going off this.
And going off this, and then also like, I wonder if OP has never seen the baby and like because clearly like OP is aware of this, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't think you can go off this.
You know, you can't. I think what could be reasonable is him seeing the possibility of this, possibility. It took me some time, but I could calm him down eventually. So after that, we both spent some time Googling away, but nope, blue eyes are recessive as I remembered. We found out that if both parents have blue eyes, the ratio is 99% blue eyes and 1% brown or green. So highly unlikely.
Come on.
But still possible.
Very possible. Hold out for that, man.
1 in 100? I mean, that's not the craziest thing ever. My buddy quickly disconnected from the call. I tried to text and call him, but he didn't answer until 30 minutes later saying he's going to call me soon. Okay, really quick, right here. We got to have a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory moment here. we're in conspiracy mode. So I'm reaching here.
All right.
I'm wondering if he's going to like abandon the family and be like,
That night?
I'll be right back. But like, he won't be right back because he's abandoning the family right now.
He's packing his things. Heading out.
Do you have any more, maybe more reasonable, less insane predictions?
Yeah, I think honestly, his wife's a nurse. He's probably like gonna go see her and like be like, "Hey, let's chat. Let's have a talk real quick."
I feel like
I think he's driving to the work.
I feel like Riley's like, listen, you got 2 red flags. First being a nurse, and then second the eyes thing.
Yeah.
Riley's like, you got 2 flags on your list, 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah, this guy's not very smart.
Little lady.
Sorry, dude. I'm just saying.
But we got to take the hats off
We gotta
and
take
get
him
back
off.
to reality.
Get to the facts.
I stayed up all night telling my girlfriend to go to bed without me. The longer I waited, I started fearing for the worst.
Oh no.
I text him again and again. He always answered that he'd call me in a couple of minutes. At 5 a.m., he finally called me back and said that his girlfriend came home at 2:30 a.m. and asked him what's wrong. He told her he's not feeling well and will go back to bed. He waited until she fell asleep to call me back. He told me that he will take a paternity test behind her back to have something official to slap in her face.
Oh.
Then he started to cry and I drove to his place to pick him up and we went to a late night drive-through and grabbed something to eat. I have never seen my best friend like this and I feel like I'm the one responsible for crushing his world.
You are, buddy. You are.
I mean, if we want to get technical about it,
It's his fault.
low key, but is he better off knowing? We'll dive into that later. He told me that he wanted to propose to her on Valentine's Day.
Still can.
Oh, God. Never say never. But that's off the table. I dropped him off 2 hours later at his place. He said that he will call me tomorrow. Now I'm typing this out, laying in my bed next to my girlfriend who slept the whole time I was unable to sleep. I can't shake the feeling that I have destroyed my buddy's life.
Bear that burden. Bear it.
Oh, man. I mean, I think kind of like we were saying, I mean, I'll give it to him, and we're going off of their research here. We haven't done our own research, but I think it's probably accurate that there is the 1% chance that this is
That's
happening.
like 1 every 100 kids. That's like,
Which
how many
is-
kids go to your high school?
2,000.
It's like 20 of them.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 20 of them out of 2,000.
That's a lot. So
Yeah,
like,
you could have been one of them.
I'm kind of like, it seems possible to me.
Yeah.
It very much seems possible. So, but so I want to ask, is it wrong of the best friend to go behind the back of his partner and take the paternity test? Is it wrong? Yes or no, Riley?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're saying yes, it's wrong.
Because let's say that it's not like that he is the father or whatever, that it is his kid and he did that. Well, if he went behind their back, then he could be like, "Oh, I'm actually father," and then throws it away and never.
Never bring it up again, right?
Oh, so actually,
Hmm.
yeah. Morally, I do think it's wrong because I mean, is there anything else besides her being a nurse that was wrong? That there could have been other reasons why.
I love how
She
you're
would've
like,
cheated?
morally, she's a nurse. So that's like the worst thing you could possibly do. But other than the 99% chance that the child is not his, like literally Riley considers being a nurse a greater offense than the 99% chance that we're staring down the barrel that, you know, the child is not.
I love all nurses. I just want you to know that, but you guys do get crazy.
Nurse has gone wild. Yeah, I would say no, because I think the thing that, and again, like I get it, there is, I mean, you know, the 20 and 2000, like that seems very probable, but also if you think about it, 99%, that's pretty high. The chances are pretty high, but I think it would be smart to do the paternity test behind her back first, because you want to be sure before approaching with the accusation with no prior anything. I think so, because if you get the paternity test done and you realize like, okay, you know what, which in fairness, there is this 99% thing.
Yeah.
That is reasonable cause. That is very reasonable cause. But still, again, it is just such a, you know, it's so hard to come back from asking your partner for paternity tests.
Yeah.
Because it not only, we've said this 100 times on the show because we have 100 of these stories. It not only implies that she cheated, it implies that she lied that the baby was yours and is like coercing you to raise it by lying to you. It's honestly in my opinion, a different stratosphere than cheating, because cheating can have one time and not affect you other than the trust being broken. This affects you by you raising this kid for like 18 years, spending all of your money and time and energy, and, you know, having this false pretense that the kid is yours. So
is he the dad or not?
Riley's like, get to the update. Okay, well, we'll get to this.
Am I right about these nurses or not?
Juicy update. He is not the father.
I told you so. I told you. Sitting beside of you, I told everyone.
So the results came in today and my buddy called me right away. He showed the results to his now ex-girlfriend, and she broke down claiming that even if the daughter is not his, that they should work this one out. How about I'm sorry? Could we start there?
Yeah.
Could we start with I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Riley. My buddy has told her no. And that he will not raise somebody else's kid, as is not his obligation. She started to demand that since he had been raising her for 3 years now, and that she had in fact stopped sleeping around 2 years ago or so. You mean you were cheating more up until like a year into the child being born? Wait. That means she was probably pregnant, because that was the year, like it was a year. And then that means she could have been pregnant. My God.
Ooh.
That it all stopped around 2 years ago or so, that they're all good now and that they can work this over. Wrong answer. He is now crashing at my place while giving them 10 days to find a new place to stay. My buddy also told me that he's giving her 10 only for the kid's sake. Otherwise, he would have thrown her out right away. He's also looking for a lawyer should there be a aftermath to this, but this test is more than sufficient where we live, so he's pretty much off the hook. Also, if you're wondering, the hospital does 3 tests back to back just to make sure. Also, my buddy is the only one paying for the apartment and 2 cars they own, and he will sell hers to his niece.
Damn.
I'm defeated.
I am too.
I'm defeated.
What just sucks.
I held out on your thing, like 20 kids in my high school could have had like, this weird mutated recessive gene and like different eye colors, different traits from their parents.
Me too, man. Deep down I did. Just for the kid. Like, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be real tough. But nurses get paid a lot, so mom be all right.
Here's the question though, because we've had both situations of this happen many times in the show.
Many times.
You raise a kid for 3 years.
Okay.
Do you still, you don't have to raise them, but do you still in a way consider them your like adopted kid? Yes or no?
Dang. Honestly, that's a tough one.
Because this is like probably the closest bonding of a child is probably like baby to 3 years old, right? They're like, parents are always say like, oh, I still see you as my little baby. They're like, that's their strongest core memory of you, is like you as a child and like the beginning of your life.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably would. Like, even if I still loved this woman and I knew that she did this, I probably would stay and be like, just for the kid. I know that sounds horrible or whatever, but like the kid, dude, like that's the next generation. I would still try to be fatherly influence for the kid.
I mean, I don't think it's terrible. Well, now, so you would want to stay in the kid's life. Would you want to stay in you're saying you want to stay in the relationship?
If I could work it out, because I think like for the kid, it would be nice. Like, honestly, I probably wouldn't stay in the relationship, but I would try to be as good of a fatherly figure as I can.
You would kind of co-parent or I like fatherly figure is good, because it's like, I am not your like the core person responsible for you, but I am going to stay a father figure in your life and kind of like be there if and when you need me. I think that's totally a good approach. We like the previous story we read, there are times of someone cheating and then doing a lot of work to come back and resolve and fix that, right?
Yeah.
But this person does not seem at all she's not even apologizing. Like, bro, you literally were trying to bamboozle this dude into raising a kid that's not his.
Also, like paying for all the stuff,
paying for you and your whole life, when knowing she probably knew if he ever found out, not even that I had his baby, like let alone that, but like just cheated on him at least once, like that could have ended the relationship. And then, you know, she loses all of the stuff here, like the life that he's affording her. Like that is bad. I don't understand why you don't just apologize first.
Yeah.
Just purely from even if you don't even mean it, from a purely tactical, you know, malicious, self-interested space. Like, why not be just like, yeah, I'm so sorry. And like, just like fake apologize just to keep your life, because clearly you want to keep your life. Like, I don't even understand. Like, if you're going to be like a manipulator, at least like do it well. But, well, I guess it's actually way better that she's showing her true colors, because it makes it way more obvious that
I stopped sleeping around 2 years ago.
yeah, right, dude.
Bro.
Stop it. Like, no. Like, how many, you're telling me that implies to me that you slept around way like more than just the one to barest of minimums, more than one time. And you know that it was like more than 2 times. I'm sorry. Yeah. We know that it was more than 2 times. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know in the comments below the answer to the question that I asked, which is, should you still stay in the kid's life? Yes or no? Y'all, this has been another John and Riley extravaganza. Yeah. We've just been
making we're actually in the middle of the gauntlet.
Yes.
Where we are filming 30 episodes within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we have 3 big days. This is day 2.
Namely 24 days of content in 3 days.
Oh shoot. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Dude,
is
you think about that.
Crazy, which is crazy. So guys, we are grinding out here for you.
I, 37 male, got a paternity test done, and now my wife might divorce me over it. Help! That's not a good sign.
No, not at all.
My boy, we might give you some help. User don't want a divorce.
I love these usernames that are just straight to the point.
They really just drop the greatest and most obvious of Easter eggs for us, and we so appreciate it. They say, my wife, 35 female, and I, 37 female, have been married for 12 years. Wow.
That's a while.
That's not nothing. We have 3 kids, and I always had this nagging feeling that our middle child wasn't mine. My wife has shown me a picture of her grandfather, and he does look a lot like him, the middle child, that is. But he just doesn't have any of my family's features. He looks so different than anyone else in the family, which is low-key kind of hilarious, because he's like, he does look like someone in her family. And it's like,
of course he looks like someone. As John recently learned,
very recent.
It's hard to tell where the father is, but it's easy to tell who the mother is. It only took me
26 sentence stories, guys. Ding, your boy is here. I decided I wanted a paternity test to put my mind at ease after 12 years of marriage and 3 children.
That's a while. I mean, and we've seen this ruin marriages before.
Oh yeah.
We have.
I think this is written from, it feels like the possibility is higher in this case, but we've heard it read from the wife's perspective, where it's like, my husband doesn't trust me.
Exactly.
And got this DNA test, and it kind of erodes trust in the relationship.
It insinuates so much. It's something
so much.
You really can't come back. And this isn't like the last story where it's like, oh, it was like a one-time thing. You've been married to this woman. Like, it's very different to ask for a paternity test from like, yo, we had a one-night stand.
And also, as we've learned, DNA is weird, and sometimes your kids don't look exactly like.
Oh, yes. Please understand that, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Your kid should not look like a carbon copy of you.
If you've learned anything from this show, ladies and gentlemen, please take that.
Yeah.
My wife got pretty upset when I brought it up, because cheating has always been a deal breaker for her, and so many other things, OP. It insinuates a lot. But I just saw that as all the more reason to get one done. Buddy, you're not getting it. You're not getting it, my guy. I told her.
I think what it really becomes is this important enough to you to end your marriage over?
Yeah.
Because if you're wrong, if you're wrong, I mean, you're screwed. Actually, if you're right, you're screwed. If you're wrong, you're screwed.
You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. Sorry, OP.
I like how you said that to me. I don't know. It felt nice.
We
rung in my head.
Baby.
Yeah. Like a little bell.
I told her that if she had nothing to hide staying in OP, she should have no problem with getting one done. I tested my son. It turns out he is mine.
Damn.
Got it.
I got it.
Tinfoil hat to reality.
He is screwed.
Screwed.
He is screwed.
Well, get a load of this. I thought everything was fine.
Idiot.
He's like,
Dude, this guy is a dummy. This guy is a big old dummy.
Peaches, rainbows, and sunshine, right?
How clueless can you be?
This clueless. And I had my peace of mind.
But at what cost?
Have your peace of mind alone.
I was peaceful, and that meant that everyone else was going to be peaceful with me because I was peaceful.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Except she told me that she was going to take the kids and go to her parents for a while. When I asked why, she exploded and told me that she was seriously considering divorcing me over this stunt.
Wow.
That she was so furious for me doubting her loyalty, knowing how she felt about cheating, and that she would never forgive me for what I put our son through, making him question his place in the family.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's worse. That's why it's worse, dude.
Yeah. You're also putting all this on the kid as well.
Yeah. Imagine how terrible that kid must feel.
Yeah.
That his dad doesn't think that that's my son.
100%.
That's the shitty thing. That's what's divorce worthy.
Again, assuming that the wife did nothing wrong, which in this case she didn't, you know.
No.
I can't believe she like still went through
All
with
divorce worthy.
Because I would love to hear her. Like,
Well, I think maybe she knows like he'll always have this like chip on his shoulder, even though it's stupid, and she's like, I know it's not true. He can always use that as like, well, why'd you take the test? Why'd you take the test? You know what I mean? So what you're kind of forced into a corner.
Like,
why did she agree to take the test? Because he could leverage it like that.
Exactly.
Right? And it sucks because she's backed into a corner because this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because she's like, well, I don't want to have to take the stupid test, but like you kind of low key making me do it.
Yeah.
It sucks.
No, it is awful. I hope the kid's okay.
Yeah.
Also, I'm curious in the comments, are you guys like okay with paternity tests now? Because I almost asked a couple if they took a paternity test whenever they found out they were pregnant. And I think I'm just brainwashed because I think
by mistake because of all of the stories.
That's what I think happens to like guys like these is they spend a little bit too much on the time on the wrong subreddits and read all these stories about paternity tests that go wrong. And then they're like, holy shit, it's going to happen to me.
Yeah. Because Riley, for you, is like a knee jerk thing where you like almost said like, oh, no, wait.
Yeah,
just because it was like you've read so many stories like, oh, is there a paternity test? Like, oh, wait, no, the implications, everything.
Yeah,
no.
and then you read stories like this where paternity tests are like relationship enders.
Although a lot of people in the comments, I mean, like I read your guys' comments all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people had said like, oh, like I don't mind if someone asks me for a paternity test. But I think that's if it's like maybe in the beginnings of a relationship.
Yeah, not in a situation like this where it's like we've been married for 12 years, have a foundation of trust and 3 children. And then you're like,
let's put it into the comments again.
Yeah.
How would you feel about asking for a paternity test? Yeah. But I think if anything, ask at birth. Don't ask 12 years later.
Yeah. You lost another Sam's Golden Rule.
Yeah. You can ask for a paternity test, but before the child makes memories. So like from like 1 to 4.
Yeah. 1 to 4. All right. There we go. That's the rule, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
the rule.
And it's golden. And it's Sam's. Don't put that on him. Okay. So
I don't mind that one.
Okay. I tried to get her to see my side, that I just wanted to be sure, and that surely she could see why I'd question it when he looks nothing like me. Read a biology textbook, bro. She told me that she would never forgive me for this.
Yeah.
And that I hoped my foolish pride was worth the cost of my family.
Sounds like she's pretty down to not have him in her life anymore.
Yup.
Oh, man.
She hasn't spoken to me since. I need advice on how to get her to talk to me and get her see. Yeah, right. And get her to see my side of the story and that it wasn't some attack on her character like she seems to think it was. I don't want a divorce. Well, buddy, step 1 is you got to understand that it like no
doesn't matter what you want to.
It is an attack on her, you know,
it's attack
integrity
on your kid.
and everything. Yeah.
Why do they have to tell the kid?
Did they?
Because it sounds like but based on the context of the story, it sounds like she's like, I can't believe you could put our child through this.
Possibly. I mean, I think it's for me, I'm interpreting it as it's still a little unclear of whether they actually told the kid.
But then why would she say, I will never forgive you for what you put our child through?
Because still that is like the doubt
But if he doesn't
is
know, then
there.
he didn't put him through anything.
All right, fair enough. But
What do you think? You think that they didn't say anything to the kid?
It could be.
I think they did.
It
That's
could
what
be.
I'm thinking.
We don't know how old the children are, right?
I think that kid's 12, right?
They've been married for 12 years.
Oh,
but
okay.
we have 3 kids.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's all we got on that one. But no, I mean they 1,000% could have told the kid.
Which would be bad move.
Yeah, I mean that is a little
Terrible move.
low key, a little bit crazy
on both sides.
Did the guy tell him?
Did the guy?
Yeah, did
you
OP?
mean
Did OP? I
OP
mean,
tell
the kid.
the kid, you don't look anything like me, so I'm gonna get a paternity test to see if you're really my kid.
OP's already
I
off his
hope
rocker,
not.
but dude, he would just be
And he's like,
gone.
I don't know why my kid is upset with me. I
Babe,
just wanted to be sure, little Timmy.
Babe, why you so? Babe, I have peace of mind now. Doesn't that
Yeah.
mean anything to you anymore?
He's like, little Timmy is like, Daddy, like, can I get tucked in? He's like, son, let's hold off on that daddy talk until we get the test.
Son, your eyes are green. You know what that means?
Yeah,
Your
bro.
mom doesn't love me. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about the first story versus this one, right?
Yeah.
So two cases of paternity tests, but like vastly different. And I think in the first story, the guy was like, hey, I need to do as much as possible to make up for it. Whereas OP is just not seeing like, he should have seen like, oh, the implications of like, oh, what my wife will feel after I, charge her with this. And then the aftermath of like, what she's told him.
And I'm also like, because there's multiple things that have to happen. It's
Yes.
like, hey, babe, I'm just feeling this kind of way. Can we get a paternity test? And he has to keep asking until she actually does it.
Yeah.
Like there was, like, I can't believe there wasn't any conversation about like, if you do this, are we okay?
From the wife's side.
From the wife's side.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe he didn't ask her about like, hey, like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he didn't, he was like, oh, I think it's going to be okay.
He literally went in and he's like, I want the paternity test so I can have peace of mind.
Yeah,
was
dude,
it.
this guy's absolutely clueless. I mean, but all right, so he has already fucked up massively.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what this dude is asking us is, what can I do? So, what can he do?
Nothing.
No, we got to give him something.
Yeah.
He can't, dude. He
Is there-
messed
is there
up.
Is there more to the story? Or are we done?
That's
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 it.
it.
finito.
Okay, so what can we do? No.
There is things that can be done.
There's-
Yeah.
Say
yeah,
sorry.
I mean, Riley, there is always things that can be done. We gotta believe that people can be redeemed. You know?
I will say bro is down bad. We'll
Bro
start
is
off with
down,
that. Bro
yeah.
is down bad. But I think, is this maybe a golden rule? Do you almost need as much time because you can build trust so over a long period of time and lose it in an instant? Does it take that amount of time to get the trust back? You know what I mean? 12 years.
12 years. Oh my god.
But yeah, in all honesty, he does. If he wants to try and salvage this relationship, he has to stop what he's doing right now and being like, wait, why are you so
Instantly.
mad? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Sit down and listen and understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like, can I hear what? Like, I think I've reflected. I think I know why you're mad, but can I hear from you, like, why you're upset?
Yeah.
Or maybe that is not a good move. It's like, hey, like, I think he should just do some reflection and say, like, now I've like thought about it. I was an idiot. I understand why you're upset, and like these are the reasons that I think that you'd be upset. Like, I question your integrity.
Yeah.
I made our son feel like he was an outsider in our own family. I didn't study biology in high
I
school,
failed biology.
and I'm a fucking idiot. Please, I'm on my hands and knees, and I want you back. I think he needs to have some sort of apology. It may not work, but in terms of things you can do,
Yeah.
this
That
is
is
what you can
something.
do. And
Exactly.
maybe take that kid out to like SeaWorld or something.
Yeah, bro. Shower this kid with all the love and adoration.
I was adopted by my best friend's family, and then they kicked me out. Here's my story of the past 3 years of drama, so buckle up. I, 21 female, moved into my best friend's house when I was 18, right before graduating high school. My relationship with my single mom was strained, and I felt emotionally abusive, leading to all of my siblings moving out at 18. By the way, this comes from user AdeptSquare436 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my best friend, let's call her Haley, same age as me, had been best friends for 7 years. And her family always seemed to support me. Her dad even welcomed me to move in before I asked. So I moved in with Haley, her dad, and her brother Brad, 16 male. I finally felt wanted and felt like I could start living my life. Haley's dad gave me my own room, helped me get my license, pick a college, and even let me borrow their car if I covered gas and insurance. He remarried a woman from another country who moved in with her son. I helped with their wedding and tried to make them feel welcome. After only 3 months of living there, both parents approached me and asked me if I wanted them to adopt me as an adult. I was very confused and hesitant since I didn't want to cut myself off from my biological family. But Haley assured me it was like we had always dreamt about and wanted me to be family. This felt kind of strange since they said it would finally make me part of the family, while I had felt we already were. They continued to ask me, and after asking for the third or fourth time, I said yes. I was excited as everyone seemed thrilled about the adoption. Haley's dad made promises like treating me fairly and the same as his other children, always being there for me and covering doctor visits and food costs because health is important. I was excluded from most of the legal process, only signing documents and attending court. I felt it was really rushed, happening just 4 months after they first asked during my first year of college. Because of the adoption, I had to change my last name and keep it a secret from my family, as my mom worked at the courthouse and they told me they were worried she would interfere in it. Looking back, I realize how crazy this whole situation is, and I still feel awful about going through with it. During this time, I met my boyfriend who has been my rock through this whole thing because after the adoption was finalized, things went south quick. Right after high school, I went straight to college and lived on campus, coming home only during breaks since I didn't have a car and the campus was nearly 3 hours away. I pay for college completely on my own, making it hard to afford a car. During the summer after my freshman year, I hit a ditch and damaged a tire due to my inexperience. Haley's parents blamed it on my insomnia and declared me unfit to drive until I fixed it. I would have to rate my sleep every morning to them, which felt extremely degrading. I hadn't slept well for years, often lying awake for hours and waking up from nightmares caused by childhood trauma, which couldn't be treated with medication. They made me feel like less of a person, asking me to fix something out of my control and insisting I take sleep meds to drive again. Meanwhile, Haley totaled a car and Brad totaled 2 from careless driving all in the same month. Neither of them faced any consequences or restrictions. This wasn't the end of the difference in treatment. If someone left a dish in the sink, it was always my dish by default. Haley would leave a pile of arts and crafts all over the table for months, but if I left a book or sweater in the living room, it was thrown in my room the next day. I would have to buy my own food, but they spent about $180 on Brad's food every week to support him. Small things like this. The sleeping medication they insisted I take did not agree with me and caused me to have some heart problems. I was hiking with Haley and suddenly had burning chest pain and could barely breathe, extreme dizziness, and heart palpitations. When I got out of the woods, they told me to just lay in the car until I felt better and to not ruin their camping trip. Haley didn't care either. Later that week, someone scraped their leg and was taken to the doctor. Next summer, we faced bigger problems. They planned a family vacation to Florida and told me I had to go because I'm part of the family, despite needing to work to pay for my college. Brad was allowed to stay behind for work. Haley's father forgot his bipolar and diabetic medication, becoming extremely irritable and yelling at Haley on the way home. Luckily, Haley and I were able to take a separate car the rest of the way back, where she ranted to me about all the problems she had been having and said she noticed they weren't treating me fairly either. She got in a 3-hour screaming match with both parents and Brad when she got home. I was not involved in these arguments at all. I felt unsafe and had a panic attack in my room, so Haley and I stayed at a hotel that night. I stayed at a friend's house for a few days to cool down and let them know I was safe. Neither of them asked me where I was. Upon returning, her parents accused me of causing the argument, called me a liar and manipulator for not telling them where I was, and yelled at me for over an hour, causing another panic attack. They just stared at me like I was faking it and walked away. They belittled me constantly, and I spent most of my time in my room or at my boyfriend's friend's house. They sent passive-aggressive messages, treated me poorly, and said I owed them for the adoption. He would ignore me when I said I love you and deny he heard it numerous times. Haley's stepmother gave me the silent treatment for a month, saying I deserved it for not telling them where I was. I tried my hardest to fix the situation, but nothing was good enough for them. I left for college as soon as I could. While I was away, Haley told me that they were using my room as a marital bedroom at least once a week because I bought a TV for my room and it was the only one in the house. They thought it was a weird brag to say they didn't have one, but would watch shows on their computers anyway. This also led them to eat and leave trash all over my room when they had family movie night on my bed. I worked throughout college and saved enough to study abroad in New Zealand for 5 months. I just returned 4 weeks ago, this June. Before leaving, my mom found out about the adoption and we started rebuilding our relationship without them knowing. They did not contact me the entire time I was there, including to see if I made it safely, which stressed me out like crazy. I would try calling and they would say they were busy and hang up. I tried reaching out to Haley and she denied anything was unusual. I tried asking what I did wrong and was met with silence. I had no idea what I'd be coming back to. When I returned 4 weeks ago in June, they had packed every belonging I owned and put it in a room downstairs. The boxes they used had mold on them. And there was cat pee and throw up everywhere and mold growing from the damp carpet. What is this? What is this random pit that they have? They all continued giving me the silent treatment like a child might do. I moved back in with my mom, but I couldn't take everything with me. When I tried to retrieve the rest of my things, they locked me out. They deny having my birth certificate, social security card, and kept bonds given to me as a baby. And we're going to get the police involved if you don't join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. I later learned Haley had spread rumors about me about her parents. She never heard from me and she didn't even know who I was anymore. Some friends have suggested giving Haley space and eventually reconnecting, but I've decided I'll never associate with her or her family again after their behavior. Good. I believe everyone deserves better treatment. Thankfully, I'm recovering with the support of my mom, boyfriend, and his parents. But of course, I'm still torn up about it. I have no details as to what the other family's thinking was, but a few people have taken some guesses. The most common guess is that since I'm entering my senior year at an expensive college, they won't be receiving my tax return money or tax breaks from me being a dependent, which outweighed the cost of me using a room. I also think the people who know them stopped praising them for being such kind and caring people and for taking me in since enough time had passed since I moved in. So am I the a-hole in this situation, or maybe asked for too much of them, or are they in the wrong here? I refused to let my adopted son choose the movie. My wife is furious.
Was it like Big Brother or Cinderella?
Yeah, who knows? We're going to have to figure out exactly what movie it was. I, 45 male, have 4 sons. 3 biological, 17, 15, and 12 male, and 1 adopted, 13 male. We adopted Jake when he was 3 years old. He came from a really difficult background, and we've always tried to give him as much love and support as possible. But if I'm being honest, it hasn't been easy. By the way, this comes from user Dazzling Pumpkin 9400 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, Jake has always been more of a challenge compared to my other boys. He's extremely sensitive and gets upset over the smallest things. Due to the trauma he experienced early on, Jake is mentally and emotionally more like an 8 or 9-year-old, even though he's 13. This isn't because of any special needs, it's just the result of what he's been through. When he was younger, he struggled a lot in school to the point where he was eventually expelled from his primary school for behavioral issues. It was a really tough time for our family. We ended up enrolling him in a social, emotional, and mental health school, which costs around £70,000 per year.
$87,000.
While the school has helped him somewhat, Jake still causes a lot of problems. The school often calls us because Jake's had a meltdown or couldn't handle something, and it's clear he needs a lot more attention than our other kids. At home, Jake's neediness can be overwhelming. He's constantly seeking reassurance and gets upset if things don't go exactly his way. My wife has always been very patient with him, maybe too patient in my opinion. She tends to cater to his needs a lot more than the other boys, and I can see it starting to wear on them. I can tell they're starting to feel like Jake gets special treatment.
Ooh.
It's kind of like a reverse of the typical, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like the adopted child is getting special treatment, and the biological children are like, hey, how come you love the adopted kid so much, eh?
Yeah.
When I feel like it's
Yeah.
usually the opposite.
This is interesting.
I mean, hey, he'll probably grow out of it,
Yeah.
right? He just needs time. He just needs time and care.
I also wonder why he is acting like this.
Trauma.
Trauma.
It always goes back to trauma, folks. Earlier today, during our usual Saturday family movie night, this issue came to a head. We always vote on the movie to keep things fair. The older boys and I wanted to watch the first Avengers movie. When we voted, Jake was the only one who wanted to watch Spider-Verse instead. Jake loves Spider-Verse, and we've watched it several times before. Seeing how upset Jake was getting, my wife suggested that we just watch Spider-Verse to avoid a meltdown. No, but you can't do that.
Can't keep doing that.
Nah, you can't do that.
That's dangerous.
Then they just have a meltdown anytime they want what they want.
Yeah.
She felt it wasn't worth the fight and wanted to keep the peace, especially considering how sensitive Jake is. But I felt like it wasn't fair to the other boys who had won the vote fairly. I said, no, we're sticking to the movie that won the vote. Jake predictably got really upset, stormed off to his room, and refused to come back downstairs. After the movie, my wife and I had a huge argument. She said I was being too harsh and that I don't understand how difficult things are for Jake because of his past. She thinks I should have just let him have his way to avoid the conflict, but I'm tired of walking on eggshells and constantly giving in to Jake at the expense of the other boys.
Yeah.
Can't be at the expense of the other kids.
No, absolutely not.
And this feels like it's a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Jake at this point has learned that if he throws a tantrum,
He'll get what he wants.
He gets what he wants.
Yeah.
And if he just doesn't relent, he will always win.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like he's learned. I don't think it's right to let Jake dictate everything just because he's more sensitive. Am I the a-hole for not letting my adopted son choose the movie on family movie night, even though it upset him and led to a huge argument with my wife?
Ooh.
Let's decide.
No, you're not the a-hole.
I say no.
I understand that Jake is probably going through a lot more than your other boys. And maybe I would, I'm always about seeking a professional, trying to understand
100%.
that. But if you let this, behavior continue,
Yeah.
they're not going to be functioning adults. Because as parents, my parents always taught me, my mom made me do laundry at 10. She's
Yeah,
like,
you got to find the right
she's
opportunity
like,
to
yeah.
have these life lessons.
Yeah.
This is like a perfect one.
Yeah, because she's like, you're not going to live here all the time. I can't be doing your laundry all the time.
right.
So I had to learn how to do that.
Learn how to do laundry because you're going to need to know that.
Yeah.
Lesson.
Yeah.
You don't always get to pick the movie because you didn't win the vote.
Also give Avengers a chance. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's not bad. But let's get into this update.
Not bad.
Well, I mean, it's not bad. Hi, all. This is an update post I made about 4 months ago. For full context, you might want to check out the original post. After reading through your comments and taking some time to reflect, I came to realize I've been too harsh on Jake, not just regarding the movie night incident, but in general. Jake has had a difficult journey since he joined our family, but that's not his fault. When we chose to adopt him, we committed to supporting him through every challenge. He didn't choose his trauma, and he certainly didn't choose to end up in a family where he might feel different from his siblings. That responsibility lies with us. We've made a few changes, starting with family movie night. Instead of voting, which often left Jake feeling excluded, we've switched to a rotation where each person takes a turn picking the movie. This simple change has removed a lot of the tension and has made movie night feel more inclusive for everyone. Honestly, that's such a good idea.
Yeah,
I can't
that's
believe you didn't think
great.
about that.
I love that. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Just remove the vote.
Yeah.
There's no vote. You're
There's
choosing
no
tonight.
dictatorship.
Yeah. I honestly can't believe I didn't think of it sooner. Thank you to everyone who suggested it. In hindsight, I realized my original post felt more like a venting session, and I regret the way that I spoke about Jake. I needed to get those feelings out, but now I understand it wasn't fair to talk about him in that way, even anonymously. Wow, did we really whiff on that?
Dang.
Did we miss
Did
that?
we not catch that?
We missed that entirely?
Dang.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
Do we hate adopted children?
I guess we're about to get ripped to shreds right now.
We hate adopted people.
I guess.
I guess that's it.
Dang. Just because of a movie, man. Wow.
Well,
we're
he
terrible.
he was just venting.
He was just venting. We were seeing where he's coming from. We weren't saying anyone was bad.
Yeah,
You know what? I stand by everything I said. I didn't say Jake was bad. I didn't say
No.
the dad was bad. I was just like, stand up.
I think the only thing we were saying is you can't just let a kid have anything they want when they throw a tantrum because you're
what? If
you're
that's not
teaching
what you
them that they can just throw tantrums.
I stand by everything I say. You know what? Rip
Yeah.
me to shreds. I don't care.
But it's also trauma oriented. But still, even with that,
I said secret professional.
you can't. Since then, I've started journaling to work through my emotions privately and with a clearer head. I'm really grateful for the wake-up call your comments provided. One point raised repeatedly in the comments was the glass child concept, the idea that our other boys might feel overlooked because of Jake's needs. That really hit home for me. To address this, we've started a new Sunday tradition. Each Sunday, I take one of our boys out for a full day, just the two of us, doing something that he chooses. It's been great for all of us and has given me precious one-on-one time with each of my sons. My relationship with them feels stronger, and it's something I look forward to every week. Jake and I also had a long heart-to-heart after my original post. Opened up about feeling like his opinions and wants don't matter, and that he sometimes believes I love my other boys more.
Oh no.
Hearing that broke my heart.
Aww.
And I took responsibility for my role in making him feel this way. His early trauma definitely impacts his sense of security, but I can't ignore that my own behavior contributed to it as well. I'm committed to showing him that he's just as valued and loved as his brothers. And by the way, I would value and love you if you joined us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on YouTube. All you got to do is tap our profile.
Easy money.
And then maybe tap it again. You might have to tap it twice.
Maybe.
You tap it and then tap it again.
This story is so wholesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I like that everyone is sharing their feelings, and I feel like when more people share where they're coming from, we get clarity of where everybody's at.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this started as like maybe a little venti, just being like, oh, my 13-year-old son is so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And now he's like, well, now I have a game plan and my life is,
it's on the up.
My relationship with all of my children is stronger than it's been.
Yeah.
So
it's okay to have event sesh and get ideas from other people. This is how beautiful it can turn out to be.
Sometimes the internet is just a beautiful little place.
Yeah. And lots of times it's not.
Yeah, but so let's make sure it is by finishing this story off. Finally, some people asked about therapy. Jake's been on the waiting list for a more specialized therapist for a while now, well before I made the original post. In the meantime, he does receive some therapy through his school and general therapy through child and adolescent mental health services, which helps, but we know he'll benefit much more once he has a consistent access to a trauma-informed therapist. We're hopeful this will come through soon. Thanks again to everyone who shared insights and advice. These changes have made a huge difference in our family's dynamics, and I feel closer to all my sons. I'm working every day to be a better parent to Jake and a more balanced dad for all of our kids.
Wow, that was nice. I love that.
Love it when somebody's willing to put in the work and they're not afraid of therapy. They see it as a positive and he's putting in the work.
Putting it in, guys.
Nice.
Beautiful. Congrats. And that's the end of that story. I want to tell my brother he's adopted, but my parents would go no contact if I do.
Parents or brother? Which one do you pick?
Yeah, just make a pros and cons list real quick.
Yeah.
I'm 26 years old and I don't live with my parents, but had a great relationship with him, as well with my little brother Moses. Moses doesn't have a great relationship with our parents. He's never really had a relationship with them. I don't fully understand why. From what I can gather from my research, adopted children, even those who were too young to remember, can still have mental blocks and trauma which prevents them from forming full relationships with their adoptive parents.
That's interesting. I was not aware of that.
By the way, this comes from Classic Advice 5115 r/OK Storytime subreddit. So Moses is 13 years old, and we're so close he spends most of his weekends at my house. His school breaks up for summer in a week. He's already told me he wants to spend the first fortnight with me at my house, something our parents don't care about. When he's home, it's like constant fighting between them. I'm sure some of it is his teenage hormones, and possibly some of it is what I spoke about before.
Yeah, but you definitely got a lot of teenage hormones.
At 13?
Definitely.
I was almost 15 when Moses came to live with us, and I remember our parents explained to me why it was important to keep the adoption a secret. Didn't want him to feel different, didn't want him to feel bullied, etc. At the same time, it seemed sensible. So I agreed to that and kept it a secret. I feel really regretful that I did. Moses talks to me about feeling different from the rest of the family, and I would reply with things like, no, it's normal to feel that way when you're young, etc. Which, looking back, I can recognize as almost gaslighting him, something I truly feel guilty about. I never questioned it, not until about 2 years ago, when I started to unpack it in my mind. But if I am completely honest. I feel guilty, and so I repressed it. But it kept coming back up. I did some research into adoption and the trauma it can give children. Like I said, those who can't even remember being adopted. I have no expertise in psychology and don't claim to be an expert, but this is just what I have gathered from my own research. On one hand, telling him could make his relationship with our parents even worse than it is. On the other, I feel like it can be hidden from him forever. Not successfully. I don't want to fool myself into thinking it could make their relationship better, but I don't see how it could. It would give him the satisfaction in knowing he isn't crazy or for feeling different. The more I thought about it, the more I start to resent my parents for forcing me in this role of lying to Moses. I started to avoid contact with them to the point they noticed. I spoke about how I felt and they told me I can't tell Moses and it will make everything worse for him.
Yeah, I mean, for real, like you've put yourself in an unwinnable position now. Like, no matter what you do, it's like it might not work out for the best. Like,
yeah, but I always feel like the hard thing to do is always the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from the very beginning, they should have.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as he was old enough to understand it, they should have been like, okay,
yeah,
you're adopted.
Yeah.
Or as soon as he started putting out like I feel different. Like,
yeah,
come on.
They said if I tell him, they will go no contact with me and make it incredibly difficult for me to have contact with Moses.
Boo these people.
Is telling him the right thing to do, or am I just being selfish? I feel like I'm lying all the time now, and we have a freaking update. We're telling him.
We tell him immediately.
Yep.
We tell him right away. Like, people deserve to live in reality.
Yep.
Especially if they're people you care about.
And I understand the parents have the right to tell him, Moses. And if they came to him and said, hey, we want to wait until he's 18 to actually tell him, just give me a game plan.
Yeah, but this is his brother.
This is his brother.
So does he not have equal, sort of, I mean, maybe not equal, but.
I mean, they picked him out. OP didn't.
We didn't. You weren't at the dog pound with us when we picked him out. OP, you don't get to say.
Yeah.
No, it's just not right. It's as soon as he himself started saying, "I feel different from everybody," that's when it should be like, all right,
because you are.
Yeah, it's like you don't want him to feel like he's crazy. It's like we don't want him to feel different. It's like newsflash, he already does. So now you need to make him feel correct.
Yep. Before telling him, I got in contact with my friend who is a social worker. I asked him, what if my brother decided to live with me against my parents' wishes? What would social services do? He told me because Moses was at an awkward age of 13, it would be a toss-up on whether they would listen to my brother and allow him to stay or whether they would force him to move back with their parents. I was advised I had parental responsibilities, so if they really pushed, he would be moved back. But if the social worker felt he was in any way unsafe, for example, Moses saying he would run away if brought back home, they would be likely to leave him living with me temporarily. So it's a toss-up, but Moses could do some swindling.
Yeah, I think you just discussed with Moses, you're like, this is how we swindle CPS
This is how this
to
works.
let you live with me.
And you have to sign this NDA contract not to explain that to mom or dad.
For $12 million.
I decided to give my parents a final chance. Tell him the truth, or I will. They told me that in no uncertain terms will they ever tell him he's adopted. And if I do, they will go no contact with me. I said I would rather they tell him, but I don't want to be the one to tell him, but I believe he has the right to know. They outright refused. Moses normally walks home from school, so instead yesterday I went to pick him up. I told him we needed to talk. I said that mom and dad weren't going to like what I tell him this, but I believe he had a right to know. I explained to him the whole thing.
Wow. I mean, he does have a right to know. Like, you can make like a call on whether or not it would be beneficial for him to know it, right? Like, but once he gets to like 13 and he's like, I feel different, like, you need to tell him.
Yeah. How he was adopted when he was around 1.5. How I didn't know that much about his background or where he was before he lived with us. I told him I was 15 at the time and how mom and dad told me it would be best for you not to know and how I stupidly believed him. I said if he was angry at me, I understood. I said I would take him home if he wanted. He was clearly in shock, but he asked to come to my house. He didn't speak at all on the drive home. When we got to my place, he just went into his room and was quiet. I was worried. Wasn't sure if I had done the right thing. He came out maybe an hour later and just asked me so many questions. I tried my best to answer them, but I told him I didn't know a lot. I said I would support him in asking mom and dad. He said he didn't want to talk to them. He sent a text to them saying he was staying at my house for the weekend. Something he normally does. Wasn't unusual. We put on a film and things were a little tense. But honestly, I expected more from him. He was so quiet. He went to bed early and I was worried. I checked up on him every 90 minutes. I bet OP can't even sleep.
No, I
OP can't
I
sleep.
would be completely I'd be like, did I just accidentally ruin my brother's life?
Yeah. This morning, he was a bit more back to his normal self. He said he was thankful that I told him. I asked him what he wanted to do. I would support him in whatever he chose. If he wanted to confront mom and dad, I would support him. But if he wanted to stay here, he could, as long as he wanted to. He said he just wanted to process everything. I asked if he had spoken to mom or dad, and he said beyond saying he was here, no. We played Fortnite together all day and he hasn't brought it up again, but he's acting like a weight has been lifted off of his shoulders. I thought this would be sad news to him, but it seems like he's relieved. He's in bed asleep now. I'm worried about our parents are going to react, but equally, I am glad Moses now knows the truth. I'm glad that things seem to be working out okay. I hope they continue. We have a second update.
Oh, second update. I bet you it's not a good one.
Okay.
Well, I feel like it'll be good for Moses, but maybe not for the parents because they're going to get upset.
Yeah, and I understand he's not really had a good relationship with the parents, but let's say like this does change Moses and he's able to have a good relationship with him. He's like, hey guys, I am mad. They didn't tell me that I didn't know. But I mean, I know he is 13. But let's say like he takes it really well and the parents are like, oh, we were scared over nothing.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's exactly what it's going to be like. He's probably going to be.
I don't think it's exactly going to be like that.
Parents are going to be mad at OP.
Yep.
And really worried about Moses. And then Moses is going to be like, I mean, I don't even think Moses is going to be mad. He's just going to be like, I get where you were coming from, but like, honestly, I'm so glad that I know the truth.
Yeah.
And then once he says that, I feel like maybe they'll relent their rage directed at OP.
They won't go no contact if Moses seems to be okay.
Exactly. Once they realize like, okay, this is actually probably a great benefit. Like they might just be like, thanks for telling him. We were never going to do that.
Yeah. We didn't know how he was going to take it. Oh, I wanted to give an update on the situation since it was my last post. First off, thank you to everyone. After I told Moses the truth, I was really worried about how he would process everything and what it would mean for our relationship and his relationship with our parents moving forward. Moses stayed with me the whole weekend and I tried to maintain a sense of normality. I could tell he was processing everything, but thankfully he seemed to be relieved to know the truth. Yesterday night, we had a conversation. He told me about how he always felt different and out of place and never really understood why. He said knowing he's adopted gave him a sense of clarity. He said he was unsure how he feels about our parents. I'm trying to support him without pushing him in one direction. Moses asked me to tell our parents I had told him yesterday. Honestly, I didn't want them to know yet, but I'm following what he wants. Well, they predictably did not take the news well. The normal of them being furious and accusing me of betraying them and purposely ruining their relationship because I was just jealous. I wanted to say they were doing fine at ruining their relationship without me. But I bit my tongue and I told them it was the right thing to do, but they didn't listen. They kept saying that keeping the adoption a secret was the best way to protect Moses and that revealing the truth would only harm him in disabling the family. I told them that Moses already had a sense that something was off and continuing the lie would not do anything but deepen his sense of alienation. And you will never be alienated every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when you tap our profile and join us on YouTube live.
That's correct.
During the argument, something one of the commenters said started to nag at me. I asked them directly if I was also adopted, and it was like they froze.
No way.
They didn't say anything for a good 30 seconds, and when they did, they just dismissed what I said. But I could feel something was different. I'm considering taking a DNA test to put my mind at ease, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do right now when it should be focusing on Moses.
No, dude, that's definitely the right thing to do. Get you and Moses a DNA test.
Right now.
Like, immediately.
Today, Moses tried to go home after school. Our parents locked the doors and wouldn't let him in.
What is wrong with these people, dude?
They ignored him knocking on the doors and have also ignored his text messages to him. He came back to my place, clearly upset and confused. Moses is such a good kid that I think he was willing just to move on, but now they've locked him out and he feels incredibly hurt and rejected, but I can't understand why they would do that to him. I can understand them doing it to me, but not him. These people have gone off the rockers.
Is that
What
the end of the story?
That's the end of the story. I'm checking to see if there's an update.
No. There's got to be more.
Like, yeah, dude.
What?
We gotta check. We gotta see these DNA tests. This was beautiful.
That
This was a great story.
Is
Holy
insanity.
Crap, dude.
I suspected my wife of cheating, so I had our son tested for paternity.
I hope not secretly.
Apologies in advance. This is a very long story, and I'll try to be as detailed yet direct as possible. My wife, female 32, and I, male 27, experienced some relationship problems caused by an ex-boyfriend of hers that I believe to still be affecting us today. For some context, we first met when we were studying overseas and working part-time together at the same restaurant. I'm from Australia and she's from France. By the way, this comes from Je suis on the OK Storytime subreddit. After a few shifts together, we became friends and then eventually started dating. I was 19 and she was 24 at the time. We dated for a little over 3 years before moving back to my home country, and 2 years after moving, we decided to get married. The problem started when my wife and I just got engaged. We decided to do the obligatory social media announcement posts informing everyone about our exciting news. It was around a week later when I was sent a message request by an Instagram account I didn't know, but saw that my wife and the person followed each other. So I thought it was one of her old school friends or something and decided to accept the request. By then, I had gotten over 100 messages from my wife's friends and family I'd never met congratulating us, so I was expecting this message request to be more of the same. Instead of a congratulatory message and an introduction as to who they were, I was sent a bunch of screenshots of messenger chats that were in French and a message that followed saying that I should read these conversations to know who my fiance is. I was feeling that something was a bit off, but still believing that this person was a family member or friend of my wife. That's English wasn't very good. Naively, I translated them thinking they'd just be some cute messages between two people. The topics included the recounting of spicy sleep encounters, spicy sleep acts that they had performed, boyfriends, and how inferior Asian guys are to white guys. I am Asian, by the way. And a little bit of
Yeah, let me take away his manhood too while I'm at it. Let me take away his manhood and be a little racist while I'm at it.
Just a little dash of it. I sent a message back to the person asking who the messages were between. They replied saying that it was my new wife and sent 3 spicy sleep tapes. I was in shock. I would be in shock too. And immediately thoughts that she had cheated on me filled my mind. After sitting for a while and trying to comprehend what had happened, I decided that I would watch the videos to try to see if it is actually my wife in them. Later that night, after my wife had fallen asleep, I decided to watch the videos, believing that there would be no way that the woman I had been living with for 5 years could do something like this. But to my disappointment, I confirmed that all videos were of her. The first 2 of the videos appeared to have the same guy, and the third video, a different guy. To say I was furious was an understatement. I had literally watched the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with effing not 1, but 2 other guys. I decided that I needed to confront her, thinking that she had cheated on me with a bunch of other guys, and I wanted her to explain to me why she did it. After staying awake and waiting through the entire night and not being able to wait anymore, I woke her up at 6 a.m. and showed her everything that was sent to me and asked her to explain what this all was.
That's crazy. I don't even know what's going on through OP's head right now, because if I got a video of that, I would not want to have a head anymore.
That's true. But we don't know yet if she's cheating on him.
Oh, because there's no dates on it.
Yeah, it could have just been like an angry ex-lover who's trying to be spiteful.
Yeah. Now, as a technical dude, there are ways you can tell when it was made, because usually files have that kind of like date with it, I would take it to an IT buddy, take it to an IT buddy chick, if that makes you feel more comfortable, and have him look at the date so you can double confirm. If you don't want to communicate with her, then do that.
She immediately started hyperventilating, then began to cry. She kept repeatedly apologizing and begging me not to leave her and was like this for a good 10 minutes. After managing to calm her down, she explained that she never cheated on me and these videos were taken before we had met and that she didn't even know these videos existed. She could sue this guy.
Yeah, that's just revenge corn.
Yeah, big time. She can totally sue this guy.
10K minimum.
Yeah. Also just like disgusting that guy was like, I'm going to try and ruin this girl's life. She also tried reassuring me that the messages were between her and her best friend and they would share everything about their lives with each other. She said the things they talked about were from so long ago that it felt like a different person had written the messages. She kept repeating that the things she said in those messages made her feel deeply ashamed and regret. It was so embarrassing to her that she ever acted and spoke like that. To try to prove she wasn't cheating, she showed me the chat history between her and her best friend and found the exact same section of the conversations in the messages between them and saw that they were from long before we had met. She also explained to me that the guy who sent me the message on Instagram was her first boyfriend from high school in France. He was apparently very emotionally and mentally manipulative during the time they were together, and for her to get any sort of affection or praise from him, she would do what he wanted and let him do whatever he wanted to her. She said she didn't understand how he was able to get the screenshots or the spicy sleep tapes that he didn't even take. That adds another layer.
Yeah.
You would assume that it was like the tapes that he took, but no, he somehow got them from a third party.
Either someone's lying or someone needs to be thrown in the deep depths of jail.
Yeah. We eventually came to the conclusion that he had hacked into her account somehow. She said that the two guys in the video were short-term Korean boyfriends from when she first moved overseas. To say I was relieved was an understatement, but I still had the feeling of disgust when I looked at my wife. But this happened before your relationship? I mean, you must have assumed that she'd had prior relationships before you.
Coming from a guy that has a loving relationship, if I ever saw those kind of videos from my partner, I would want to crawl into a hole and cry.
But it would be pretty awful to break up over that.
It would.
Over the next few months, I tried pretending that everything was okay, but I couldn't get over what I had seen. She was a completely different woman in my eyes. I know body count shouldn't matter, but reading the messages of how many guys she slept with really bugged the crap out of me. You need to go to therapy over that. We had told each other our body counts in the past, and I wasn't bothered with it at all. She literally could have told me any number, and I think I would have been fine with it as long as it was the truth. But now that I know that not only did she lie about the amount of men she had been with, but the fact that half of those men were guys I knew quite well and considered friends destroyed me. That adds a little bit of a little layer of context there.
If the person you're currently seeing hooked up with your girl best friend, the one that starts with a slithery snake, imagine if that happened.
I mean, I would like to know. Yeah.
You'd like to know, but would you feel hurt?
No. A little awkward. I don't think I would feel hurt if it happened before.
Happened before?
Yeah, I don't think I would feel.
And he didn't tell you. And he knew that you guys were friends.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they didn't tell me and then I started dating this person, I'd be like, that's weird.
Okay, cool.
I eventually told her how I felt when she blew up at me one day for not wanting to have spicy sleep with her. She started crying again and asked if we should cancel the wedding. I said we should consider it, but not act on anything yet, hoping the way I was feeling was just a phase and that I would eventually get over it. The last thing I wanted was for my friends and family to ask why we're not getting married anymore and me having to explain the things that happened. We agreed to go to couples counseling together with the goals of fixing our relationship and getting married on the date we had set before that crap happened. We found couples counseling to be very helpful, and one of the best things we both liked while at our sessions was we were able to try verbally expressing what we were feeling and literally have it translated perfectly into a cohesive explanation by our couples counselor.
Oh, nice.
That's great. See, this is what you needed. You just needed some therapy.
Like, why do you never see the ants in the house? And then the counselor would say, it worries me that little things are happening around the house, but you don't take time or intention to notice them in order to take care around the house.
Why are you so focused on the ants?
It worries me that you are always worried about the little things that are happening and you don't take a step back to really appreciate the full house. Make me a couples counselor.
After 10 sessions, we had been given a list of strategies for us to use together to mend our relationship. And I had been referred to a psychologist for some private sessions that I thought were super beneficial. At this stage, everything was almost back to as it was before I was sent the messages. But I honestly never quite felt the same or trusted my wife again the way I used to.
Ooh. So he feels good as a person, but the relationship is still broken.
That sucks because besides lying about the people that she hooked up with because they didn't know each other and stuff, like no agreements were violated.
Yeah.
We did end up going through with the wedding, believing that my wife's past shouldn't affect my feelings towards her, and that if we did end up breaking up, it would effectively mean that our ex succeeded in his objective and would have got what he wanted. I would say if you have any doubts, don't get married.
You don't, or push it back.
Yeah, you don't have to get married right now. About a year after our wedding, my wife planned a trip to France to visit all the family and friends. I was originally meant to go with her, but couldn't as I had just been given a promotion and had only been in the position about a month. While she was on her trip, I get another message on Instagram from her ex saying she only likes me, followed by another spicy sleep tape of her. Okay, one, why would they have not have blocked this guy after that whole debacle?
And two, how does this guy time it to where she's in France and he's back home?
Maybe she's posting on her story. Why aren't they unfollowing or blocking each other?
Yeah.
After watching for a few seconds, I just assumed it was another old video that was taken and blocked him. I planned to show my wife what he sent, but ended up totally forgetting about the whole thing. How did you forget about that?
It's happened before. He's gone through so much sessions. He's like, I don't want this to ruin whatever little we have.
Fast forward to today. We have been married for almost 2 years now and have a baby on the way. During one of her obstetrician appointments that I went to her with, there was talk of her possible due dates and around what day she would have conceived.
We should have maybe have worried about that video.
While sitting there and listening, I was doing the maths in my head and realized something wasn't adding up. The period she would have had to have conceived in was when she was back in France visiting her family. I stayed quiet and convinced myself that I obviously wasn't calculating correctly because I've always been crap at maths. But I remembered what her ex had sent me and had a gut feeling that something was very wrong. Eventually, my insecurities got the better of me, and I ended up watching the video he sent, trying to find any clues of when it was taken. Unfortunately, I concluded that the video must have been taken at some point when we were together, as I could see a scar on her pubic area that she had given herself by waxing when we were on our honeymoon. After thinking about this for a while, I've decided not to confront her with what I know. I'm not going to ask friends or family for support. I'm not going to go to counseling. The less people that know, the better. I don't think I can live with the shame of people knowing that my wife is giving birth to another man's child. I'm going to wait for the baby to be born to see if it's mine before I make any final decisions. Thank you to everyone who read everything I had to say. I really needed to get this out, and not being able to tell anyone what I was going through was driving me insane. And there is an edit, and I think multiple updates. But do you have any thoughts about what OP should do?
OP. Oh, I was going to ask a question to you. Is he in the wrong for going behind her back and getting this paternity test, knowing what he knows now? Because he spent probably hours in sessions, hundreds of dollars in these sessions, getting over it, and he still had a gut feeling that something was wrong.
I mean, I don't really love any sort of sneakery.
Yeah.
However, she's already lied to him multiple times, and it seems like she's pretty good at convincing people that she's telling the truth, even when she's lying.
Yeah.
So it seems like he has enough probable cause.
We're doing it without her consent.
I mean, honestly, if you're already there, it's like your relationship is over. So just say hey, I want the DNA test and I want a divorce. It doesn't seem like you can ever get back that trust. Even if you find out that your kid's yours or that she didn't cheat on you in this instance, I don't think that you'll ever trust her in the same way that you did. So honestly, I would say the best thing is to just confront her.
Yeah.
Edit. I've had a few comments questioning the timeline. Our wedding was in September 2022. Her trip to France was in mid-December 2023, and she was there for about 5 weeks. The due date for the baby is in late September.
I was born in late September, so I know.
Conceived in December.
That happened.
Update 1. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who commented with advice and also those people who criticized my thoughts and actions. Reading multiple perspectives about my situations helped open my narrowed view and I think gave me a more balanced perspective. I'm not too sure how I should write this update since there's so much information that was dropped on me, and I'm not too sure how to put it into words. It honestly feels like my life was pulled out from under me, and I'm not too sure how to comprehend it all at the moment. A lot of people criticized me for not telling my wife about the latest video. And a lot of you also suggested that I check the EXIF data to see what date the video was created, which is what you said. And it seems like we don't need to get a third party to look at this tape.
If you didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, but maybe you just say like, hey, how do I do this? And they're like, what's the video? And you're like, I don't need to show you. It's okay.
Yeah. But my question, another thing too, is if it was sent over Instagram, I don't know if he could get that data.
Yeah. Following everyone's advice, I did both. I first checked the metadata to see the creation date, which showed that it was taken on the 1st of January, 2024 at 1:18 a.m. It was sent to me the 6th of January, 2024.
I know for a fact that baby is going to be born on September 27th.
I kept in mind that people were saying that data can easily be edited and didn't take the newfound information too seriously, even though it looked like a relatively recent video.
You can edit that information.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people know how.
But also, I think there's been a lot of kind of evidence.
The scar, the time. Yeah.
After seeing the metadata, I sat her down on the couch to tell her about her video. There we go. This is the confrontation we needed. I went into the conversation fully prepared with a list of things to say I had made with my therapist. Good. I made sure to not make accusations or even make anything I said sound like an accusation, and was 100% prepared for her to blow up at me for not telling her about it sooner. My therapist gave me a guide of how I should deliver the information and how I should attempt to give her back control of the situation by offering to show her the video, letting her watch it on her own, and delete it in front of her when she was ready. I started by saying that I had received another spicy sleep tape from her ex, and when I received it, then I went into why I didn't tell her immediately after receiving it or after she got back from her trip. After giving my explanation, I asked her if she wanted to see the video, which she said yes to. So I gave her my phone, and she pretty much immediately started the video as soon as I handed my phone over to her, which didn't give me a chance to get up and leave the room to let her watch it on her own. As soon as I heard the audio from the video, I immediately stood up and was turning to walk to a different room when she grabbed my pant leg and started profusely apologizing. I said there was nothing to apologize for, as this was from before she met me, and that I should be apologizing to her for keeping it from her. So he's kind of giving her, he's like, is she going to lie to me again?
I don't know how I feel about that one.
She asked me why I decided to tell her now, and I told her the truth about my concerns about the due dates and how it wasn't quite making sense in my head, and that's when she lost it. She grabbed my hand and kept saying it was a mistake and that she wasn't thinking straight because she was wasted. My heart just dropped, and I knew instantly what she meant by her repetitive ramblings. I told her to tell me what exactly happened or I'd leave immediately. Long story short, she cheated on me when she went on her trip to France with her ex that was sending me the screenshots and videos. Okay, really quick. How dumb do you have to be to go cheat with the person that you already know sent your partner video? They ended up having spicy sleep after catching up at a New Year's Eve party they were both at.
Things can happen at a New Year's Eve party, let me tell you.
They're from a small town in central France with only a population of a few thousand, and apparently they had seen each other at the local supermarket a few days after her arriving at her hometown. My wife and her ex are from the same friendship group. They all went to the same kindergarten, primary school, middle school, and high school, which is how they ended up at the same New Year's Eve party. She also told me that her ex had admitted to hacking into her Facebook account to gain access to the spicy sleep tapes she had made and shared with her other exes. She sent them through Facebook? One, she sent them through Facebook. Two, he admitted to hacking into her stuff, and she was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep with this man. Although calling what he did hacking makes makes it sound quite sophisticated, she hadn't changed her password since high school, and he still knew them when he got access to all her accounts. So effing dumb. It seems to be the theme of the story is her just being stupid. She begged me not to divorce her and tried to bargain with me, promising it would be the only time she ever cheated, promising that she'll be the best wife to me, letting me have spicy sleep with any and as many women as I'd like. I said I would only consider staying if she would do two things: give me her phone so I can go through her messages, and get a paternity test done. She instantly agreed to the paternity test, but was a bit more hesitant about handing over her phone, but eventually agreed. While looking through her phone, I found more evidence that she cheated on me on New Year's Day, as well as evidence that she had cheated on me one other time from her period tracker app. She's so dumb.
Wait.
She uses the app to track for her periods and spicy activity.
Because there are some I've seen, I don't know this but I've seen someone like, they answer questions when they're about to be on their period.
Yeah, it's good to, like, if you track that, then you know when your period should come, and then if it doesn't come, yeah. But she's, I guess, smart in some ways and a really bad cheater.
Yeah, get another phone and track it on another phone if we're going to be doing that.
I just had to go to the dates where I wasn't in the same country as her and see if she had spicy sleep or not. Unfortunately for her, she was very diligent with keeping track of her spicy activities. By this point, I had already made up my mind about the relationship and just left. I'm currently staying at a hotel and will be moving into my apartment that I have been trying to rent out for a while. I've spoken to both my solicitor and my wife and have agreed to go to the mandatory counseling in order for me to be able to go through with the divorce, which will start in October. We've also agreed to get the paternity test done after the baby is born, and I got my in-laws plane tickets to come to Australia earlier than originally planned so they can look after their daughter. And there is a second update 3 months later.
Oh my gosh. So she did cheat.
Yeah.
Ah!
And the baby's probably not his. Which is like complicated, but like if it's not yours, then it's like a clean break.
At least she has someone that wants her back.
Moral of the story, don't cheat. There's a couple morals. Don't cheat. If you do cheat, be smarter than this. And third moral of the story is don't marry someone that you have doubts about.
There we go.
Because they might be cheating on you.
Yes. I think I could write a book on how to cheat correctly, sadly.
It is sad.
Yeah.
Update 2. It's kind of like a Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Like getting into the mind of a serial unalive.
Yeah.
But there is an update 3 months later. It's been quite a while since my last post, and over the last month, I've been getting so many people asking for an update on my life, but more specifically asking about the results of the paternity test. A lot has changed since my last update, especially the living arrangements with my wife. I can happily say that I am the father.
Okay.
I'm happy for you.
Me too.
Definitely sucks that you're going to have to figure out this whole divorce stuff, but like,
That's good. That's good.
I was with my wife in the hospital birthing suite when my son was born and stayed with her the 5 days at the maternity ward. We got a paternity test, even though I was fairly sure that he was mine when he was born. He looks a bigger-eyed version of me when I was a newborn. About a week after getting the swabs done, the positive parentage result came back. Before my son was born, my wife and I had been living separately and only having interactions by her sending me daily messages, wishing me well and wishing me goodnight. After my son was born, we were still living apart, but I would go over to help feed and change him, and we would still have minimal interactions and would only really talk to each other once a week for mandatory marriage counseling that we had to go to in order to get a divorce. We had seen psychologists from 2 different clinics, and I feel like they were both trying to gaslight me into thinking that I was being unreasonable for wanting to divorce my cheating wife. And one of them had even said that I shouldn't expect a modern marriage to be completely monogamous in this day and age. That's crazy.
They went to a French one. Whoever this person was definitely French.
I don't think they're in France.
Well, I would like to think that this person is French, but they grew up in their childhood in France.
First sessions of counseling at the first clinic seem pretty standard. A lot of us telling each other how we feel with the counselor in the background, only speaking when providing prompts to get us talking. If the counseling session continued as it was, it would have been fine. But as soon as she suggested that we should accept the idea of bringing other people into the bedroom to better understand and connect with one another is when I started looking for a different psychologist. Did your wife find this psychologist? And she was like, oh, this one's great. She comes really highly recommended by all of the cheaters I know. The second psychologist we saw spent 2 sessions trying to convince me that it's normal for married couples to have spicy sleep with people outside of the marriage, and that it would be selfish of me to make the baby grow up without a father figure in the home, even if he isn't mine. This was before we got the paternity test results back. Where are you finding these psychologists? This is terrible advice.
Yeah.
From that moment on, I decided that there was no point in me going to marriage counseling. I told my wife that I'd put the divorce proceedings on hold only if she agreed to sign a postnup, which she immediately signed as soon as I gave them to her. My plan is to just wait a year before filing for divorce without any restrictions and BS mandatory marriage counseling. And now at least my assets are somewhat protected. Currently, I have moved back in with my wife, but are still sleeping in separate rooms. I decided to move back in just to make it easier for me to spend time with my son and to also be able to look after him when my wife and her parents need a break. After being with him for what is almost a month now, I decided that I would be physically present in my son's life and help raise him. I believe that it is my duty as his biological father to give him the best life possible, no matter the discomfort I feel of having to interact with his mother. But I love when you guys interact with episodes with stories just like this, and you can hear more on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search up OK Storytime.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit left to this story. What I am trying to think about now is how that is going to be possible after the divorce and how that will impact his emotional and mental development. Are there other people out there who were able to raise their children this way? And if so, how are you coping with the arrangement? And thank you for all those who were concerned about my love life, but nothing is happening. I haven't thought about dating or spicy sleep since finding out about my wife's cheating. Edit, I'm still going to get a divorce. I'm just waiting until the courts allow me to file for divorce without having to go through mandatory marriage counseling, which in some places is like a year.
Oh, wow. But they've already been through a lot of counseling.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I guess it doesn't matter if you had previous counseling. The second you initiate it, you need to go to counseling. That's kind of smart.
I have also made my wife sign a postnuptial agreement so I can save as much of my assets as possible when we do divorce. And that is the end of that story.
That's it.
I think I found my biological father through a DNA checker website. I'm scared to reach out.
Do it!
I, 24 female, apologize for that accent I just did. And if this is kind of scattered, this is a lot to take in, and I don't have many people I can talk to about it. I will start with some backstory. My mom was a pretty terrible person, typical r/raised by self-absorbed person material. She was also a compulsive liar. By the way, this comes from user throwaway313464, and if you want to submit your own stories, go over to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. She is always skirted around telling me about my father, and eventually when I was like 10, she confessed to me that he was a baby juice donor. She also came out to me as attracted to the same gender, but I'd been told that she tried to not be attracted to the same gender by occasionally having relationships with men, and she is no longer with us as of 5 years ago. The only other family member I was close with was my great-grandma. The rest of my family are almost as terrible as my mother, and when I lost my grandma last year, I moved to another state, changed my phone number, and preemptively blocked whoever I could find on Facebook so that they'd be out of my life for good. But anyway, what it comes down to is that I never really knew anything about my heritage and didn't have anyone left to ask. I saw a comment here several months ago about a genetic test from a website called blankety blank, so I bought one out of curiosity. I woke up tonight to an email telling me that my results were in. I'm not even close to anything my mother ever told me, but liars lie, right? So here's where it gets weird. I logged back on earlier tonight to see if there was a referral code I could give to a friend, and a section titled DNA Relatives caught my eye, where it says, view members who share DNA with you. It says things like 627 distant cousins, 212 second and third cousins, but one close family.
Ooh.
So I gave that section a little clickety-clackety. His name, male, 50% shared DNA, father. I sat there in stunned silence for a few minutes, just staring. I switched tabs back to the homepage and noticed a notification at the top that read, "We've found a genetic relative. Add your father." Name. Obviously, I looked up his Facebook, and he is the only person with his name. A wife, but no kids. His location adds to the possibility of it all being real. We also have the same weird hair. It's done. As soon as you have the same hair, it's done.
Done.
It's done deal.
That's your father.
Growing up, I was constantly asked if it bothered me that I didn't know my dad. Once in a while, I'd see a girl with her dad and feel a little sad that I didn't have that, but it was never something I pined for. I can honestly say that I really never gave a crap that my dad wasn't in my life. But now, I don't know. Something changed. I have no family anymore, and I spent my entire life thinking that I was half Irish, half Italian, and tonight I found out that I'm not. It was never something I felt attached to, but it is a strange feeling to find out you're not what you thought you were. I really want to message him, but I have no effing idea what to say to him. I can be very wordy, as evidenced by this post, and I want to avoid freaking him out. I'm completely independent, I live on my own, and all that jazz, but I'm worried he'll think I want money, something he likely has, based on his career. It would be pretty cool if he wanted to get to know me, but I understand what a huge shock it would be to know I exist, and I would understand if he didn't want anything to do with me. However, I've spent my life with a serious undiagnosed medical issue, which is a story for another day, so I would be extremely grateful if I could get some medical information from him. At the very least, Daddy's a doctor. Something that makes this more complicated is that while my mom told me that my dad was a baby juice donor, it's entirely possible that he's not. I did see the baby juice donor application someone filled out, but it's possible that she never actually got the baby juice. She was a reckless substance user as well as someone who partied a ton, so it's also entirely possible that my dad was a random hookup or something. So basically, I can't just ask him if he donated the baby juice in 1990 because it's possible he didn't.
Well, I think
But that's
that
not true.
I think you could still be like, hey, were you a donor in 1990 or did you hook up with this woman?
Yeah, I think, and you preface that by being, hey, this website told me you're my dad.
Yeah, and there we go. We don't even have to like, hey,
let's figure out how that
works.
How that tracks, right? This post ended up much longer than I meant for it to be, but what I'm looking for is some advice on what the heck to say to this guy. I don't want to risk effing it up. Here's the update. First of all, I'd really like to thank everyone who took the time to share their stories with me and give me advice, especially those of you who found yourself in a similar situation. This was totally not a situation I ever expected to find myself in, and I'm so grateful for all of the advice everyone gave me. Anyways, on to the update. So after my thread died down the other day, I reread all of the advice I was given and started writing a draft on what I wanted to say to him. I had considered editing my thread to get opinions on what I eventually typed out, but after nervously rereading it 100 times, I finally decided that I needed to go with my gut and just send it before I chickened out. Didn't even run it by my two closest friends because I didn't want to feel unsure about what I was going to say. Basically, I told him who I was, explained how I came to find him, and what the DNA test results said. I went on to tell him my mother's name, and following the suggestions I received in my original post, mentioned that she had passed a few years ago before giving me an accurate story about who my father was. I also said that I'd be interested in talking and getting to know him, but that this must be a big shock to him, and I would understand if a relationship with me is not something he wanted, and went on to request that he at least share his family's medical history with me. I sent it late Friday night and anxiously checked my phone all day on Saturday. It's a weird feeling having spent the entire 24 years of my life literally giving no Fs whatsoever about my father. All of a sudden, now I care. It's like before all of this, he was just this nameless, faceless person that for all intents and purposes did not exist. Then suddenly he had a face and a name, and I could see where I got so many of my features that don't look anything like my mom's side and always made me feel like I didn't fit in. I suddenly found myself caring if this 50% of me wanted to know me or not, and it was actually kind of scary. I woke up this morning to several notifications on my phone. He answered. I also had a friend request from him and an email from the DNA testing company letting me know that he wanted to share information with me. He started off by telling me a bit about himself and his life, and then went on to say that he isn't surprised or shocked to hear from me. It turns out he actually was a donor of the baby juice. However, he went on to tell me that I'm half Jewish. My DNA results came back saying I'm half Ashkenazi, and the way he described it made it pretty pretty clear that his side of the family is very in touch with their heritage. The thing is, the baby juice donor paperwork that I have is from a guy who claimed to be Italian and was in medical school when he donated, and my father already started his career in something completely different. I've basically come to the conclusion that my mom somehow had the wrong paperwork, which is weird because she insisted my entire life that I was half Italian. Also, I have a half brother and a half sister. He got in touch with both of them several years ago through the donor sibling registry, which adds more mystery to the baby juice donor situation because the registry seems unable to find my records when I signed up several years ago. My half-sister is a kindergarten teacher and my half-brother plays in a rock band. He told me their names so that I could add them on Facebook as well, and he mentioned that they've all become very close. Similar situation to my buddy. I apparently also have another half-sister who my father mentioned called the cryobank, trying to get in touch with him, but she got cold feet and backed out. My father went on to say that he realizes how scary it must be to reach out to a biological parent that you've never met because of the fear of rejection, and then said that I wouldn't get that from him and that he's delighted to hear from me. He also told me that his 89-year-old mother would be thrilled to know I existed and that she's become close with my two half-siblings as well. That part made me particularly happy because I really miss my great-grandma. I haven't actually answered him yet because I'm still taking it all in. I thought maybe typing out this update would help me do that. I was seriously bracing myself for this guy to not want anything to do with me. I sort of had this hard butt, only child, orphan, I don't need family attitude, especially after losing my great grandma because she was the only family I was close to. And it turns out that I have all these people I'm related to that are so excited to get to know me. By the way, I am so excited for you to get to know that we have full episodes with stories like this available to all of you lovely little babies. Just go to your podcast platform of choice like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and search OK Storytime. I am so excited to get to know my father, grandmother, and half-siblings. It's really a pretty amazing feeling, and I still can't believe it because I've felt so alone for a long time, and that all changed in less than 48 hours. I'm not really looking for any advice this time. I hope that's okay. But I had a lot of people who really wanted me to update, and I know that I always feel warm and fuzzy when I read someone else's happy update. So I wanted to share this with everyone who gave me advice. So thanks again. And that.
What a wholesome story.
The end of that story.
What
What a wholesome story. Finally. Sometimes we just want wholesome stories.
Sometimes it's just what
Sometimes
we
we get them.
need. Sometimes we just need it. Very good. Very good.
Very good.
Expert opinion? Very good.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
My mother-in-law freaked out about my newborn skin color. She demanded for a paternity test.
Why are we freaking out about the baby genetics when you know who your partner is already?
My husband and I have been together for 4 years, married for 2. My husband is Indian. I am white. I have always gone along with my mother-in-law. She was warm and welcoming from the beginning, and I really like her. She was over the moon when we told her I was pregnant. Our daughter, Sarah, is her first grandchild. By the way, this comes from user Gray Throwaway. That's a great one. And if you want to submit your own stories, go ahead and submit them to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, while I was pregnant, my husband and I joked together about how the baby might look 100% white. In all seriousness, we both knew she would probably look very white at first and get darker with time. She was born a month ago and does indeed look like any other white baby, but she has a full head of black hair and brown eyes. My husband and I think she's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm sure she is gorgeous.
We love that. Anyway, my husband and I decided early on that we didn't want any visitors in the hospital while I was giving birth and that we wanted 1 week at home with her before introducing her to the family members. We wanted a little privacy and peace during a crazy time. My mother-in-law wasn't thrilled by this, but she did respect it. She came to our house 3 weeks ago with my father-in-law and sister-in-law. She had a huge grin on her face as I walked towards her with Sarah in my arms. But when she saw my baby's face, everything changed. That's when the Fire Nation attacked.
I was half a second behind you.
She began shrieking, and I mean shrieking, that the baby wasn't my husband's. My husband and I were stunned. The baby started to cry and everything sort of dissolved into chaos.
Oh, no.
My husband tried to explain that it's totally normal for the baby to be so pale, but she wouldn't calm down enough to hear him. They all left without any of them even holding the baby.
Oh my God, what? That's not... I think you overreacted, perhaps.
Again, do we not know how genetics work?
We don't even, it's not even genetics, just how babies work. Did you know that babies aren't at their final settings as soon as they are born?
That was weeks ago. In the weeks since my husband has spoken to her over the phone many times, telling her that he is certain the baby is his. He even pointed out to her that she herself is light-skinned for an Indian woman, but since my husband is darker, she thinks Sarah should be darker. She has refused to see me or Sarah until we do a paternity test. My husband has no doubts about Sarah being his, but he has asked me to do the test for his mother's sake and for Sarah's. He wants her to have a relationship with her grandmother. I do too. Or at least I did. I'm not sure anymore. My family lives very far away, 10 hours by plane, while my husband's family is less than an hour by car. I was counting on my mother-in-law to be a big part of Sarah's life, and she was very excited about spending time with her granddaughter. But now I don't know if I can ever leave Sarah with a woman who can come unhinged so easily.
I think my condition would be, one, of course, the paternity test is going to be like positive, and then there needs to be a big fat apology attached to it.
I think so.
From the mother-in-law's side.
I think for let's just do this paternity test, because if we don't, nothing's gonna get settled.
Right.
Do the paternity test and be like, okay, that's a paternity test. I better get the biggest apology and like biggest gift basket
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
Like she better say like, okay, great, I'm gonna do the grandmother duties and more.
Yeah.
What do I do? Do I swallow my pride and get the test done? Even if I do, how can I trust my mother-in-law's behavior and judgment after this? Edit. In case anyone wants more details about her reaction, here's one of my comment replies. You didn't see her. She flew off the handle at the mere sight of my child. She screamed at me. She screamed at my husband. She called me things in Hindi, so insulting that my husband won't tell me what was said. Comments. Comment 1. Contrary to other posts here, my suggestion is to tell your mother-in-law in no uncertain terms that this kind of irrational nonsense is not welcome in you or your daughter's life. Refusing to honor this ridiculous request is not denying your child a relationship with her grandmother. Refusing this request is standing up for yourself and forcing a 57-year-old woman to act like an adult instead of trying to bully and manipulate you. If she can't see the light and act like a normal, rational person, then you are all better off without her. Appeasing irrational, manipulative people only weakens you and enables them. Tell mother-in-law if she wants a relationship with her granddaughter, she needs to act like an adult. Also, keep an eye out for passive-aggressive crap and subtle resentment she may heap on you or your daughter over this. OP replies, yeah, a big part of me wants to ignore her BS, but my heart is breaking for my husband and my child. I was thinking of writing her a letter telling her how much I like and respect her and that I want her to be a part of Sarah's life. I would also include in that letter that her behavior hurt my heart because I am deeply in love with her son and would never do anything that she suggested. I would tell her that my daughter needs her grandmother, but I am afraid that our relationship has been tainted by this and that we need to sort this out ourselves before bringing Sarah into it. And we have an update. What do you think?
I mean, you know, not everybody understands that. I guess a baby doesn't always look like its parents, especially right after it's born. And I don't know. I think this is something that you do, and then you like wave it in front of her face just to see her reaction. Be like, so what do you have to say to me now? And then if she really says nothing to say in terms of like an apology, then that's when it's like, all right, well, honestly, this behavior is.
I would give her the way you reacted was inhumane. That was ridiculous. You made your granddaughter cry, but she's like, that's not my granddaughter. I'm like, okay, well, we'll do the test, and then we'll shut you up. And then what are we gonna do from here on out? How are we gonna go about it? I will talk to your husband like, hey, we do the paternity test.
It needs to be a thing where it's like, oh, this happened to my brother, and it was like the same thing, and I don't know, I saw what it did to him, and then that's what. Like, I need a reason, and I need like a big apology.
Yeah. Like, what is your reasoning?
I would need both of those things to go back to normal.
Because her skin tone is not the same skin tone as the father.
Guys, that's so dumb. Babies don't. Oh, it, guys, come on.
People just. I love how I'm getting both these stories. We have an update though. I want to thank everyone for their advice. Everyone, mostly everyone, was very helpful, and it was validating to hear people say that my mother-in-law had behaved badly. Yeah, very. Yesterday morning, my mother-in-law called my husband while he was at work. She said she wanted to come back to the house to apologize. Seriously, didn't expect that.
Wow, yeah.
My husband told her he needed to check with me first. I told him it was fine as long as he and my sister-in-law were there too. So last night, after my husband came home, mother-in-law and sister-in-law came over. I was pretty nervous, but I tried not to show it. Mother-in-law apologized for her behavior. She said she knows that Sarah is her son's daughter and that I am, in her words, a good girl. She said that she is disappointed that we aren't including Indian culture in Sarah's life.
How? What are you talking about? It's too early to make that call at all.
The father... Oh my God.
That is not what is happening. Now you're just changing, you're moving the goalpost to a different sport.
Yeah, okay. Let's just keep on. We gave her a completely Western name except the last name. And we didn't have any religious ceremonies for her, including the traditional Hindu baby naming ceremony. I feel I need to tell you all that this was a mutual decision between me and my husband. Okay, my husband was born and raised here and is very Westernized. While his given name is very Indian, he has a Western nickname he prefers to go by. We live in the American South, and he deals with casual and not so casual bigotry on a regular basis. He has been pulled over by the police repeatedly for looking suspicious and even occasionally harassed at work. He doesn't want that for our daughter, so when we decided on a name, he was clear that giving her an Indian name was not something he wanted to do. We are also both atheists and didn't want to do the traditional ceremonies for either of our family's religions. Anyway, my mother-in-law said she dealt with the Western name and the lack of a ceremony, but when she saw the baby even looked white, she freaked out. She reiterated that she doesn't doubt Sarah's paternity and that she's sorry for the way she acted. She said she very much wanted to be a part of Sarah's life. I thanked her for the apology, but I also told her how what she did made me feel. I told her that I had really valued our relationship and had been looking forward to her relationship with Sarah, but that I'm worried now. I told her she behaved in a way that made me question her ability to spend time with Sarah alone, which is fair. But I said if she wanted to, she could prove to me that this was a one-time incident. I told her that my husband and I had discussed letting Sarah stay with her 1 week in a month when she gets older. On these weekends, my mother-in-law would be more than welcome to take Sarah to her temple and teach her all about Indian culture and the Hindu religion if she wanted to. However, as of now, that is no longer the plan. If my mother-in-law wants that privilege back, she needs to behave like an adult and treat both of us with respect. She agreed and told us she loves us both. We hugged and she cried a little. And
if you want to experience the full range of human emotions, then what should they do, Keon?
They can find full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast app, and search, what do we search?
Okay, story time.
Bing! And let's get to the rest of the story. She asked to see the baby and cried full on when she held her.
Oh.
She cooed at her in Hindi. My husband said it was all sweet things.
Well, thank God she's not slurring the baby.
And promised us that she would earn our trust back. She then asked if we could reconsider the baby naming ceremony. We agreed that if she wanted to plan it, we would do it.
Compromise.
We aren't thrilled with that, but we are happy that things are working out. I will be proceeding with caution, but I am optimistic. Her apology was sincere and, it appears, not coerced. She won't be left alone with Sarah anytime soon, but if she continues to be warm, loving, and the sane woman we knew her before to be, before this nonsense, then a year or two down the road, everything will be the way it's supposed to be. And that
is the end
of that story.
Wow. Good ending.
Good ending. Again, I think she just had a lot of underlying emotions and thoughts that just boiled all together. And when she just saw the baby, just like it all hit her.
Yeah.
All at
She's
once.
like, it's my beautiful baby.
She's like, what about our She's like, what about my traditions? What about our family's traditions? What about just our background, our history and everything, our culture?
But what can I do to the baby?
But you can't, like, the baby was just born. The baby is going to experience that. Especially, it seems like OP and her husband did say that when it comes to that time when you do take care of Sarah, you can.
I found my biological father, but his wife told me to leave them alone. Ouch. Ooh, what did your father say? Backstory. It all started a few months before I was even conceived.
Whoa.
We're going way back. My biological mother, let's call her Chloe, was engaged to a man who we will call Carl. So Chloe was working at a Walmart while engaged to Carl and decided to cheat on him with her boss, who we'll call Harold.
Not Harold.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway Adopted Girl, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. We just might read them for ya. So Harold had no idea Chloe was engaged until they had been dating for a while. Things are going well between them until one day Harold catches Chloe on a date with his best friend. Wow, so she's just going down the line.
I was like, wait, is his best friend her OP's dad? But no.
I don't think so.
I think she's literally, she's like,
Yeah. She's like, you don't need degrees of separation. I'll be there. I got
She's
you.
like, I'm gonna cheat on you. I'm gonna cheat on my husband. I'm gonna cheat on him.
And this leads to a big fight where Chloe hits Harold and he has to lock her out of the house to protect himself. Oh, wow.
Oh.
She calls the police on him, and due to the crappy domestic dispute laws in their state, they both spent the night in jail.
Oh.
Wow. Somehow, Harold is blamed for the incident and is ordered to take 2 years of anger management and decides to never speak to Chloe again.
Valid. I wouldn't want to speak to her either. She sucks.
A few weeks later, Harold gets a text from one of his friends telling him that Chloe is pregnant and that Harold is the father. Wow. He immediately calls BS because Chloe is not only engaged to another man who is probably the father, but was also being intimate with many other men.
He was like, you're not about to mamma mia, mamma mia.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah, you're not about to mamma mia.
You can watch Mamma Mia, but you cannot Mamma Mia.
And that's what he said.
And I heard
that
say
straight from his mouth.
So he brushes it off and forgets about it. A couple months pass and Harold gets a call from an adoption agency saying that they need to talk to him.
Ooh.
Chloe has decided to give the baby, hey, that's me, up for adoption, and Harold needs to sign some papers since she put him down as the father. He agrees to sit down with someone from the agency, but only to talk to them about the claims. So he meets a representative and tells them that he doesn't think he's the father. The guy from the agency goes, oh great, just sign here then, and hands Harold the documents to surrender his rights as a father.
Why don't we just do like a little test?
Little quick DNA test.
He's
there.
DNA. He's right there.
Might as well.
Spit into a cup. I don't know.
Whatever it takes.
Let's I feel like, I don't think I'm the, like, we have a way to make sure.
Yeah. That does sound funny. He's just like, I don't think so.
And they're like, okay, cool,
like,
I guess. Yeah, sure.
You don't have to be if you don't want
Yeah.
to. You can make that choice, I guess.
Okay.
Meanwhile, with Chloe, she has the baby with her fiance in the room, which gives me infinite respect for him. And the baby is adopted 3 days later.
Does the fiance stay with her?
I guess.
That's crazy.
No, maybe she didn't know.
There's
Right?
like he didn't know?
Maybe the fiance didn't know about the cheating. Unless they did.
That's
Hold,
crazy.
please.
No, because she labeled another person on the birth certificate as the father. So I'm assuming he would have seen that. And also they're putting the kid up for adoption. So
yeah.
I feel like
And Chloe went to jail. I'm sure that fiance
I
will figure
feel
that
like
out.
the fiance was like, something's up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the baby, who is me, was born with a slew of genetic illnesses, and I end up in the hospital only 20 days later because my kidney was collapsing in on itself. Wowza. To save time, let's just say that growing up, I spent a disgusting amount of time in the hospital. My health was in a perpetual downward spiral, and every time we found a solution to one problem, a new one would pop up and wreak havoc on my tiny body. It all came to a head one day when I was 13, when I was in so much pain that my doctors thought I was having a heart attack. I wasn't, but hadn't been diagnosed yet, so they had no clue. So after being told by my doctors in the hospital that I had a heart attack, my adopted dad, who we'll call Marcus, freaked out and finally reached out to Harold for the first time. He asked for his medical records so that they could better assess the situation and decide what to do. Here is where the problems started. The first incident. So while I was busy being cripplingly ill, Harold had forgotten all about me and started a new life with a woman he had met a month after my birth. Let's call her Heather because she reminds me of Heather Duke. They had 2 sons at the time, and Harold hadn't told Heather anything about maybe having another kid. To clarify, I wasn't there for this part, so I am only telling what I have been told happened. So Heather finds the email that my dad sent to Harold and absolutely loses her mind. She thinks that he cheated on her or something and blocks my dad on Facebook and starts messaging Chloe on Facebook. So hang on. So
okay, so OP's adopted father, right?
Yes. And then
messages Harold, possible biological father,
right? Asking for medical records.
Harold's new boo, Heather, sees this and she's like, "Oh my God, you're cheating
She's like,
on
you
me.
have a baby?
You got a baby? Yeah.
Dang.
And that's where we are.
Now, this is where the story gets a little tricky. I have been told 2 different versions of this event, and honestly, I'm not 100% sure which one is true, so I'll just tell both. So, we have Chloe's version. This is the story of OP's life, Chloe's version. Taylor's version. Heather started sending a mass amount of hate and harassment to Chloe, basically telling her to step off and get away from her man. Heather insisted that Harold wasn't the father and that Chloe was lying. By this point in time, Chloe was already married and had 2 daughters that she kept, one who belonged to her old fiance and one who belonged to her current husband, and had also built a relationship with me. She read me some of the messages that Heather sent during a weekend I was spending with her and my half-sister almost 4 years later. She said, I quote, her grammar was atrocious, but I didn't think correcting it was the right way to go. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, she probably would have been. Yeah. She's like, hey, girly, are you cheating with my husband?
Yeah.
You're the worst. And then she types back, wrong, you're.
Yeah, she just has like a
Yeah.
what's that called? An asterisk. And then
Yeah, she's like, YOURE.
That'd be hilarious. So now we have Heather's version. Heather reached out to Chloe to talk to her about the situation and what she wanted them to do. Chloe snapped at her and said, there is no way that my parents would put me through a paternity test. Because Chloe said that, they decided to not pursue the test. After these communications, all contact was lost and my dad lost Harold's cell phone number. The whole interaction ended with no paternity test and no medical records. And we have recent events. Okay, now that that's out of the way, here is what has happened in the last month. So my health has progressively gotten worse and I now have to apply for disability if I want to pay for my ungodly amount of medications. Very sorry about that, OP. The lawyer I hired said that having a full family medical history might be helpful. So I asked my super smart friend to track Harold down so I could contact him. Long story short, I got his number and left him a voicemail that was basically me just begging him to help me and that I was sorry for intruding on his life and begging for him not to yell at me. He called back after like 20 minutes and to my extreme surprise, he was happy to hear from me. He said that not contacting me was one of the biggest regrets of his life. We cried together on the phone and I told him about the genetic disorders I have and how I was worried for his kids. He assured me that they were healthy and I cried because I was relieved. We talked throughout the week until eventually he had to fly home from his business trip and tell his wife what was going on. Needless to say, it did not go well. Heather was pissed and demanded that we limit contact until the results of the paternity test came in. Unfortunately for her, it came back positive and confirmed that I am his daughter.
Which
Whoa.
could have all been, like, all of this hullabaloo could have been avoided if he had done the paternity test.
Yeah.
When they said, hey, dude, I think
Right.
this is your daughter. And he said, no.
He said, nah.
He said, I don't think so.
Nah.
Couldn't possibly be.
Yeah, this really, really could
Yeah,
have.
that's frustrating.
Here is where the story gets sticky again, because I have been told 2 different versions of what happened during the last week. Harold's version, so many versions.
A lot of versions.
You just can't know what's going on.
Can't keep track of all these versions.
So Harold's version of what happened during the last week. Harold and Heather got into a big fight and she made him tell her sons what he did. Maybe it was meant to humiliate him, but if so, it backfired because his sons were so excited to have a sister.
Aww.
One of
She's like, tell him. And he's
Yeah.
like, boys,
So
before
sorry.
you were born, I had a daughter. They're like, a sister?
Like, what? One of them compared me to Shazam, I think. Harold left to go on another trip for work, and he and Heather fought right before he left for the airport. He called me while he drove there and told me all of this and said that he didn't want to lose contact with me again. I was so happy he still wanted me around, but I was sad that I screwed up his family. He told me that it wasn't my fault, but I still felt bad. It's not your fault,
Yeah,
OP.
that's not your fault,
The,
no.
the family was screwed up before he even got here. I hate
Yeah.
to break it to you.
Yeah, they screwed themselves up.
Yeah.
If this is how Heather's reacting,
Right.
I don't think that you are the problem.
Not at all. I got Heather's version of events much later at 11 p.m. when I was trying to eat my ramen. She's like, let me just have my noodles.
Try to eat my ramen.
Just have my noodles in my soup and just leave me be.
Is that a crime?
Come on. She messaged me on Facebook and claimed that this is what really happened. Heather's version. Harold was unhappy about the test and said that I was too much too fast, but wouldn't tell me that because he didn't want to hurt my feelings.
I don't buy that.
I
don't buy it. Heather's trying to stir the pot.
Exactly.
But it won't be stirred because this is an Instapot.
Because she's
and you don't need to
stirring the
stir
ramen.
an Instapot.
Yeah. They told their sons and they weren't happy about it either. She told me that Harold hardly has time for his kids and I was forcing your way in. Now, I am a very sensitive person and I have a habit of breaking down over the smallest things because of other stuff that's happened in my past, but that's not relevant right now, which is why I'm very proud of how I handled this. I texted Harold and told him that his wife contacted me, and within seconds, he called me and asked me to read what she had said. I read it to him and also read the apology I sent to her. He apologized on her behalf and asked that if it's okay because I sounded like I was crying, which I was, but I didn't want him to feel bad, so I just told him I was fine. I was just tired. I asked him what I should do, and he told me to just be myself. So I apologized to her again and again while she snapped at me, and eventually she stopped, and I got to go to bed. That last part makes me kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry for laughing, but it's like funny in like a oh no kind of way.
I mean,
because
Opie's like, I'm sorry, and she's like, ah.
well, because what's this guy's name? Harold. 'Cause Harold is like, it's like, don't worry, just be yourself, do whatever you would naturally do to respond. And then she's just like, no, I'm so sorry. Like, you don't need to respond like that. You can be yourself, but you don't need to like, you know, fall in to all of this. And again, I don't mean to laugh.
No,
I
but
do feel bad.
Yeah, no, I literally Opie's like out here like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels like when you're like trying to pet a dog and it's like, and you're like, it's okay. And they're like, and then they kind of like get tired. That's what it feels.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Things were quiet after that, and I tried not to message them because I didn't want to get yelled at again. This morning, I got diagnosed with severe scoliosis and yesterday with epilepsy. And since those are usually genetic, I texted Harold and told him that he might want to get his sons tested for it. Apparently, this was a bad idea because Heather proceeds to message me and then tell me to stop texting them and that I was not helping their marriage. What?
I
That's
feel
on
like
you,
Heather, you're the one not helping the marriage.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would block Heather.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a great
don't
idea.
message Heather. Just
There
don't
you
have a
go.
relationship with Heather, and
There
then
you go.
you can't ruin anything with Heather.
Exactly. I tried to explain that I was just trying to help and asked her to please stop lashing out at me, but she just texted back with, I'm not lashing out. We just want you to leave us alone. Take that we out of there. I know that's not both of you.
Is
That's
that the
just
royal
you.
we?
Yeah.
Are you the freaking king of England?
Yeah.
Or the queen of England, I guess?
Are you? Either way, are you? I haven't responded back because her message really hurt and I just shut down and fell asleep to cope. I apologized to Harold, but he hasn't replied to the text, which is making me think that maybe they really do want to leave me.
No, I think that Harold is probably just like getting yelled at by Heather, and now like every time he texts you, he's probably, you know, she's like, what are you doing? Are you texting your daughter? Blah, blah, blah.
Right. Or I wonder if Heather's even like deleting the messages.
Possibly.
That's
She might
very
be
possible.
accessing. Yeah, because how else would she? I mean, Harold might be telling her about all of these conversations, but also
But he
she might
seems
be looking
like
at them.
he's been like disagreeing with her and stuff. So he's
Yeah.
probably like, if he did see it and disagreed, like he would probably say something.
Probably.
Hopefully. It's making me think that maybe they do really want me to leave them alone, but I also know that Harold told me the exact opposite. My anxiety is having a field day and I have absolutely no idea what to do. My main goal in this situation is to preserve my relationship with Harold and try to get Heather to like me. So what should I do? And there is an update, but what is our answer for her?
Oh man, I think my answer, partially at least, is to block Heather.
Yeah.
Stop responding to her. She clearly doesn't want a relationship with you, and she's trying to sabotage your relationship with your biological father.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be easier for everyone if you're like, hey, Heather, I'm not going to be talking to you from now on.
Right.
I don't think it really matters if you necessarily have, like, you can be nice and you can be, you know, polite to Heather, but I don't think you have to have a relationship with her.
Absolutely not.
Like, she has to get over herself. This is your biological father.
Yeah.
Who also wants to have a relationship with you.
Right.
And she can't stand in the way. I mean, it's not like he didn't cheat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, none of this is your fault.
No.
Like,
And you're also an adult, so it's not even like there's any sort of like care that goes into this.
Right.
Like, you know, in terms of monetary or.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It
this
wouldn't
is
be
just-
like
yeah.
a problem in that way. But yeah, no, it's none of this is your fault. If there's problems with their marriage, like even if it was because of things that you were involved in, like that doesn't like whatever you say or like text her or something like that, it's not like they could still have a fine marriage even without that. You know what I mean? So like even if they are having problems because of that, it's not your fault. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to have problems.
Exactly.
So just yeah, you just know what you did was right and ignore Heather because she's not making any sense.
Agreed.
But again, there was an update. So, hello. Sorry this update has taken a while to come out, but I promise there's a good reason for it. My girlfriend drove down to visit me for a week and I was preoccupied spending time with her. I was also really hoping that the news I have to share with you would change. So, long story short, I took the advice I was given and muted Heather's messages to me.
That was the advice I gave.
She heard you speaking and she listened to you.
I love
at that.
I love that.
That's amazing. The stuff she was saying to me has really gotten to me, and at this point, I am not quite sure if I'm the bad guy. I called Harold and talked to him about the situation and told him that I don't think it is in my best interest to be talking to his wife. This is where things took a bit of a sad turn.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Harold agreed with his wife and said it would be best if I just left them alone for a while. That hurts my heart.
The thing is that I don't think that's what he actually wants.
Yeah.
Given how he's talked to you before,
Yeah.
I think this is Heather pressuring him and saying like you're ruining our marriage.
Absolutely.
All the things that she's been saying to you, he's been probably getting tenfold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if she's like this, if Heather is being this like crazy wild card, like it just in this situation, like you could just imagine what's been going on in, like any other parts of the marriage, you know. I'm sure he's been getting lots of grief from her.
Absolutely.
I was stunned for a few moments because this is the opposite of what he had told me less than 24 hours earlier. That said, even if he had said something else beforehand, I know that I have to respect his decision. I told him that I would stop all contact, and when he is ready to talk again, it will be on him to message me. That's where the call ended, and we haven't spoken since. Oh my goodness. It sucks. I'm kind of hurt. I have no right to be hurt about it, but I still am.
You have
absolutely
every right to be hurt about it.
Oh my goodness.
This is your biological father, who you found and wanted to have a relationship with, and said yes. And then his wife is getting all up in arms about it. You absolutely have a right to be upset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've come to the decision that it's not my job to make them like me. This was probably not going to end any other way. It's painful, but it's the world we live in. I'm sorry I don't have a happier ending to share, but I'd still like to thank you guys for the amount of support and loving messages I received on my first post. I don't think I could have endured this without you guys and the validation you provided me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to send such kind messages and helpful advice. I appreciate each and every one of you and am sending you virtual hugs. And there's an edit. Yo, I got on one of the Reddit YouTube videos. Oh, you got on another one too. Let's go. Apparently, everyone on YouTube either thinks the story is fake or that Heather's sons don't belong to Harold. Ooh, interesting. Also, I still haven't heard anything from Harold. I'm starting to think that something is either very wrong or they genuinely don't want me around. I've stuck to my word though, and I am not contacting them. By the way, we will always stick to our word by telling you that we have more episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is and search OK Storytime. And we've got that there for you. I pinky promise you.
Do it!
Pinky promise. But there is a tiny bit more. Edit number 2, in October, 2 things have happened. 1, I needed to reach out to him because my cat got sick again and he works in pet insurance and care, and I asked him for advice on what insurance carrier to use. It was cordial and completely professional, no emotions, and nothing other than business. It hurt to see him act so cold, but that's his life. Number 2, his wife, who my dad, Marcus, now refers to exclusively as Heather, updated her Facebook so that it says, "Stay in your lane, witch," directly under her name when you click on her profile. Whoa. I feel grossed out that she's acting like I'm some jealous lover who wants to steal her man. I'm his kid, not his affair partner.
Literally, she's acting like he's like cheating with this girl.
That's crazy.
This is his daughter.
There's probably other reasons that weren't said that like support that is directly towards OP, but I wonder if that's like towards anyone else though too.
Yeah.
And she's just like this with like
a lot of
everyone that
people.
tries to make a connection with him, no matter what kind of connection it is.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. Also, I'm going down to see my girlfriend this December. She's been the biggest help and support throughout this disaster. If I ever get a more significant update, I'll ask the mods to let me post a part 3. I doubt I'll get one though. I think this is where the saga ends. I have an adopted dad who loves me and a biological mother who loves me. I think I can be content with that. Smiley
Man, oh
face.
man.
And
There you
that's
go.
the end of that story.
There you go.
Wow.
I mean, it's not quite a happy ending, but you
Yeah.
know what? You are not responsible for Heather and
at all.
Harold's behavior.
yeah.
And if they're gonna act this way, that's not on you. That's on them.
I agree. Yeah.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm excluding my adopted nephew from our girls' trip, but my sister keeps insisting.
It's a girls' trip. It's for the girls. We're not invited. We can't go.
Girl trip for the girls, boy trip for the boys. Sometimes that just be the way it do. Throwaway. I, 42 female, have 2 nieces, Flo, 14 female, and Ivy, 11 female, as well as a nephew, Ryan, 10 male, through my brother Tom, 46 male, and sister-in-law Kate, 45 female. Flo and Ivy are biologically theirs, and they adopted Ryan 2 years ago after fostering him for 3 years. I live locally to them. We are super close usually, and have my own daughter, Ava, 12 female, who my nieces are close to. By the way, this comes from user Ant in Agony, and you could submit your stories on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, before foster care, Ryan's life was awful, and he has some behavioral and developmental issues. He struggles to sit through long things, such as shows, quietly, whether it be in the theater or the girls' plays and recitals, so the girls rarely have both parents supporting them. His behavior is sometimes pretty unpredictable, and he sometimes has pretty loud and physical meltdowns, so they have to be careful where they take him. As such, whenever me or hubby take Ava to the theater or other activities which Ryan wouldn't like, we bring the girls along too. Sometimes Tom and Kate pay for them, sometimes we do. We have never brought Ryan out without his parents and sisters because he has really different interests to the girls. I don't feel confident handling his behavior, and Flo and Ivy have expressed that they really value the Ryan free time. I've made extra effort to be there since then. Ryan is a great kid, but he needs a lot of attention, and my nieces need people who are 100% in their corner. Low-key feeling kind of bad for Ryan right now.
It's a sign of favoritism here, a little bit, but not okay.
It's like he's got behavioral issues, so, you know, anyone who says that they don't pick favorites is lying. Let's be honest.
Sorry, but
It's I feel like it's almost impossible to realistically not have a favorite. Out of your, like, if you have like a bunch of kids, I'm sorry.
when it comes to kids or comes to parents, I mean, I know a lot of people try to do 50-50, but sometimes you're gonna have a favorite. Sometimes, not every single time, but
Like, I don't think you should like outwardly act on your favoritism,
let's just skip this because we're definitely okay.
Whatever. Ryan's getting dunked on because he's adopted, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like,
I don't
it's
like
kind of like
it.
a little bit of like pushing Ryan to the side. I get it. Siblings can do that, but there also needs to be some love here. I haven't heard anything positive from the sisters with Ryan.
Anyways, I am taking the girls to a Christmas theme park in London on Friday. It's quite an expensive one. UK readers, if you know, you know. And I have the joy of footing the bill for all 3. On Sunday, I got a call from Kate asking if Ryan could come with us on Friday. He'd seen adverts and heard the girls talking about it and wants to go. She offered to pay for whatever he did. I told Kate no, as I didn't know what he was like in crowds. She said he went 2 years ago and loved it, and his sisters were there to help him if he was struggling. I said that wasn't fair on them. I booked it as a girls' trip, and it's supposed to be a treat, and I don't want it getting cut short, and I don't feel comfortable parentifying the girls. I know Tom's taking Ryan to London next week, so I told Kate to book tickets on that day, but by that point, she wasn't listening. She criticized me for insinuating siblings caring for each other was parentifying, and accused me of being ableist, as Ryan can't help his conditions and shouldn't be excluded, as well as being biased against the kid I'm not related to. It got very fiery and ended with me saying, "Read the room, it's a girl's day," and her hanging up.
I don't know. If this was planned out with like months in advance? It seems like a spur of the moment kind of thing.
I feel like to call it the girls' day would also imply that the activities are only going to be enjoyed by the girls.
That's what I thought too. I thought it would be like a spa day or like a girls' like camping trip, but you're going to a theme park, a Christmas theme park.
And one that that Ryan has already enjoyed in the past.
Yes. Again, if this was planned, do we have like a time map here? Like where this, like, it seemed like it was
no, I don't think we have a time map, but honestly, like, I think that the mom might be a little right in calling you out.
Me too, because it seems like OP did this and then said, we're having a girls trip, not, hey.
Well, I think she set up that like the premise of the girls trip was already just like set up in that the time that the girls spend just with her is like they value it, so it's sort of like always a girls' day.
Yeah, but that's not fair.
But right, exactly. And at this point, you're just being like, I just like the kids who aren't difficult.
You're showing favoritism.
Anyways, she went to the girls and said either they ask me for Ryan to come or they can't go. Flo texted me begging to not let him come and asking if they can still join us, while Ivy is more torn up as she doesn't want her brother to be left out, but also doesn't want to risk her day being ruined. My mother, Tom, and sister have contacted me saying I should bring Ryan as to not show favorites and to be inclusive. Husband is on my side. Am I the a-hole? And there's an edit to answer. Tom, Kate, and my husband are all working the day of the trip. I took paid time off, and Kate and Tom had childcare arranged. I do spend quality time with Ryan. We live a 15-minute walk away, so we go to their house often. Me, Ryan, and Tom, if he's around, build a lot of Legos as it's a shared hobby, and I get him a new set every birthday and Christmas. And it's a running joke as he spends a lot of time guessing which one. I like this quality time as it's accessible and his parents are around. I just book days out around my daughter's interest, which happened to be the exact opposite of his. She's a really artsy girly girl who likes the theater, shopping, museums, movie nights, and slumber parties, while he's into Legos, video games, and anything martial arts. And we have an update.
Again, because you're dealing with 3 girls, it's
I'm going to say no, you're not the a-hole, but it's like you're venturing into potential a-hole territory.
Or guess what? Ryan's going to hold it accountable against you because you didn't invite him.
Yeah. And that's probably not going to make any behavior issues he has better.
No, I feel like you have to let him know, or like this has to be a conversation with Ryan and the girls. Like, hey, this is a girls' trip. We can make it up to you and go somewhere and then make it up to you. I don't know, because you're just excluding him. And again, he is a child. And when a child gets excluded, it's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, and he's probably already being excluded in a lot of other areas from the sound of it.
Yeah.
It's like the sisters don't really, at least one of the sisters doesn't really care for Ryan. So
I don't know.
At least the younger sister was like, kind of like, I don't want to exclude him, but also I don't want him to ruin our day. But like, you gotta, I don't know, you gotta put him out there so that he can take, actions and change. Like, I don't know. It just seems unfair. Here's the update. Well, that blew up. Thank you to everyone who commented. Currently on a break, so I'm going to quickly update. Crap has hit the fan, basically. I removed the previous update as I was too sleep deprived to do the title properly. Your comments made me realize that I am right to not bring Ryan. It's not safe with just me, and especially after reading comments from people who have special needs children/siblings who have had to pull all children out of days out as there hasn't been enough adults. I'm not doing that. That was a funny sentence, but honestly, that also I didn't think about that, where it's like a safety issue
where he needs full attention,
right? Because it's like,
that's also true.
If she's out with the girls and then Ryan like runs off,
it's game over.
Now you're in a position where it's like, all right, well, what am I'm gonna have to carry these 2 other kids around with me while I look for the third,
because it's the 2.
Oh, that's right, the 3 girls.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that probably is a little bit too much.
I still think this needs to be a conversation with Ryan, because once this gets to him, he's going to be upset.
Yeah.
But that does make sense. That's a very good point.
The girls also deserve to do the things that they want. I will also make a conscious effort to do stuff with Ryan. I'm going to suggest to Tom that me and him take him to Legoland when it reopens in the spring. The new players are my husband, Ben, 43 male, my and Tom's sister, Mia, 40 female, and my mom, 70 female, who we will just call Mom. Because of the character limit, I couldn't elaborate on a few things. I do spend quality time with Ryan. I just don't take him on days out. We both love Legos, which Ava doesn't, so it's great to have have someone to bond with over that. And as we live a 15-minute walk away, we see each other often. It's usually at their house, and it's easier shepherding one kid rather than 3. Sometimes he'll pick to hang with the girls, where they will play an activity they all enjoy like Mario Kart, but most of the time he'll pick to hang with me. He's one of those kids who thrives hanging out with adults rather than other children, which is why his parents endorsed the girls' day, as it meant they get 2-to-1 time with him. He gets on with his sisters as they are both super calm and kind girls, but most of his meltdowns arise from confrontation with other kids or his sisters wanting to do something that he doesn't like. Some examples include Flo playing music in her room or them picking a movie he doesn't want. Obviously, when they do a vote, the girls' pick usually wins, as there's 2 of them, and he gets stressed out a lot by other kids at school. Kate and Tom encourage the girls to be empathetic and let him have his way, but I think this means the girls sometimes lose out. He's got some friends at school who he has frequent playdates with, especially when the girls are out of the house. And he's friends with Mia's 2 sons, who are 10 and 8, and sometimes gets invites to go laser tag with them, but they live slightly farther away, and as it's on weekends, Tom or Kate are always there as they have to take him. Back to the story. Ben, my husband, walked Ava to school today, and Flo and Ivy go to the same school. In the UK, the first year of secondary school is when the kids are 11 or 12, so Ryan is at primary school still, joining the girls next September. Flo was waiting by the gates, the girls walked themselves, and asked to talk with him after Ava went in. She basically said that she loves her brother, but really values having days out with me, Tom, and Ava, because it's calmer. And when they went to Winter Wonderland 2 years ago, he was chill for about 4 hours, but they ended up leaving earlier than planned because he was starting to get cranky with all the queues, and they didn't want to risk any meltdowns there. As they started with the rides that he wanted, they had only done 1 or 2 that the girls wanted and didn't do the ice skating, which is what she really wanted to do. She also mentioned when the family went to a restaurant recently, Ryan threw a fit as the food was taking too long and he was hungry. Tom took him home, and while the girls were trying to chat to Kate, she was too busy on her phone trying to message Tom to see if Ryan was okay. I also have noticed that the girls are at my house a lot lately. As they're responsible for walking themselves home, they'll just go to mine to do homework as it's empty. Otherwise, until I get home at 5:30. Ivy and Ava are in the same class, so they do homework together. Flo will often chat a lot to me and Ben, often about gossip, what happened at school, yada yada. I thought nothing of it, but now I wonder if she even has those chats with her parents. Where Flo and Ava are both pretty headstrong and confident, Ivy is sensitive, and I think her mom saying she's excluding her brother really gets to her. Ben relayed this to me, and I contacted Tom, telling him we needed to meet. He works long hours, but agreed to swing by my place after work to hash the issues out. While Kate is lovely, she thinks with her heart, while I think Tom is more level-headed. At the moment, he's on the Bring Ryan team, but I think when I lay out why that is not possible, like the lack of other adults and the girls' feelings and the length of time we're planning on staying, I'm hoping he sees the light. This morning, I also got texts from my mom and Mia, both on Kate's side. My mom has had a past of kind of favoring her son over her daughters, and she was saying that Tom was valiant adopting Ryan, and it was my duty as the local family member to make sure that he was accepted as much as possible. To those who said send her along, I wish, but also found out she and my dad booked a last-minute flight to get some winter sun for a few days. Mia was more level-headed, but still on their side, saying I needed to keep the peace, as we don't want a scrap just before Christmas. But when I mentioned she organized things without the girls, she got quiet. I also found out she is also the designated Ryan babysitter for that day. So I think she might be trying to pawn him off on me so she doesn't have to come over. She lives a 45-minute drive away, and her kids are driving down to hang with Ryan in his house and in the local area, as Kate works in our town, so is close by in case there's an emergency. I was thinking about asking my sister if her and the boys wanted to come, but as her boys are younger, I would be scared of the girls being overshadowed, and I'm not sure we can manage 6 kids between the 2 of us at Winter Wonderland. Her youngest is also not the height requirement for a lot of the rides that the girls want to do, as he's pretty short for his age. It also takes away from the girls' day. They've really talked a lot about it, and I don't want them feeling awkward about doing something because Ryan doesn't want to.
Okay, so this entire story I've been like back and forth. I'm siding with OP. No.
Yeah.
Like one second I was like, OP, I don't think I like where you're coming from. Now with everything and all the context that we have as of right now, I understand, and that makes sense. I think again this needs to be talked to about with Ryan, but I think the girls' day is naturally fine. But I also think some therapy with the kids, especially the girls, and how it seems like they're getting not resentful is the word, but they're kind of distancing themselves from
Yeah.
the family and from Ryan.
I think
in
that
some
some
ways.
group counseling would do them good.
Yeah,
just to,
I think some
so everyone
child
can,
counseling or some child therapy or something like that, or
Yeah.
some family counseling to get it all out there and talk about where we go, especially how we navigate this. Because if it's all bottled up, it's gonna turn out ugly, and there's gonna be a lot more resentment, which we don't want. So I get it, girl. You're allowed to, especially with kids. I don't like the favoritism, but you're allowed to, like, okay, you get your day, girls. And then Ryan and the boys will get their day.
Well, and it's like, let's be like honest. He's got behavioral issues. He's got special needs.
Yeah.
It's harder to look after and take care of Ryan.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be OP, that makes sense. If there was another adult that can go along, great. And they can look after Ryan.
Yeah.
But I think in this scenario, a girl's trip is fine. This is fine. And then you say to Ryan, hey, this is just going to be a girl's trip. I know that you would want to go. We'll go to Legoland. And then the girls don't have to go. Make it your day. And if you want to invite any of your friends or your cousins or whoever, whatever you want, Ryan. So that's fair, because guess what? Legoland, I mean, it's a Christmas thing and everyone loves Christmas.
I agree. I fully agree.
So
maybe we can come again next year when we have all 6 parents available, so more flexibility. But for now, I think it's safest going with the girls only. I am slightly concerned that with the way Kate is behaving, she might tell Mia not to come and drop all 3 at mine on Friday. But Ben, who works from home, says he'll babysit if he needs to. Ryan really likes him, and I think he would prefer playing on Ben's PS5 to the theme park anyways. I don't want it to come to that, and it's cruel to tell the kid he can't come when he's at my door, but I wouldn't know what else to do. By the way, if you don't know what else to do, I've got a suggestion for you. You can go find full episodes with stories like this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to them to your heart's content. All you need to do is search up OK Storytime. And there they are.
it's very simple.
Super simple. I think we just kind of laid out exactly how we feel before we finish the story.
And
I mean,
I think Opie kind of cleared up there too. Like, oh yeah, you can hang out with the boys, PS5,
yeah,
fun time. It'll be distracted, and that's fine. I think what you need to enforce as well is like, okay, we're gonna have the girls' day, but please, like, I can chip in if you need anything to make sure Ben has a good day too. Like, Ben can play the PS5, order some pizza or what have you, whatever his favorite food, to make him feel special.
Yeah,
as well.
like it's like you're still having a nice time, nice day. Right?
Because guess
Even
what?
if he does get dropped
FOMO
off.
sucks. No one likes FOMO. Fear of missing out sucks.
Yeah, and it really and it sounds like Ryan doesn't handle it
Very well.
at all
Which is
because of
again,
his,
that's very understandable.
his past trauma and all that stuff. And
And he's also just a kid.
yeah, therapy. He needs therapy and counseling.
I think
as a unit, as the family, that would do well for
it would help
everybody.
the girls. It would help the relationship better with Ryan. And again, when the parents were like, "Oh, be empathetic," like you can just like do this. It'll be good for you guys. Like, no, I think you need to talk to everyone so everyone is on the same team and same mindset.
All right, let's finish this story. I am pretty nervous about how my brother will react, especially to Flo talking to Ben, as I really don't want to fight or her to get in trouble. I'll mention what she said, but not anything where I can see it starting a fight. Ben told her to speak to her parents too, so that may be happening, but I think it would just be her, as Ivy is very timid and doesn't want to make her parents sad. I don't want to be cut off from my nieces, as I love them a lot and know they love their cousins, so I really want to resolve this. Any advice would be appreciated. We have some top comments. Number 1, it sounds genuinely like everyone really loves each other. But just because there's that love, it doesn't mean that communication will always be easy. It'd be great if the grown-ups had a family meeting without the kids to make plans for the upcoming year, where there's equal all family time and equal individual small units time, so that kids get their own special attention and also get time together. Edit to add, this current situation is of course really sticky, but it's only sticky because everyone loves each other and folks want to have their own special time. If you can approach the conversation that way with understanding and excitement to make different plans, special plans with Ryan in the near future, with your sister, hopefully it'll go easier. It's not that anyone wants to leave anyone out. It's that sometimes it's just great and fun to have smaller units. Commenter 2, the parents and family involved are massive a-holes. Ooh. Ryan is going to be a monster in the coming years because everyone keeps placating him instead of actually parenting him. The fact that Mia is trying to pawn him off and the grandparents are all off all of a sudden, going on a minication, proves that they don't want to deal with him, but rather help him understand that he can always go, that it's okay to miss out. They are teaching him that if he whines and screams a lot, he'll eventually get his way. Then the poor daughter can't even spend time with their parents without tantrums and chaos, and that's simply not fair. Unfortunately, OP can't just take the girls and just go without being arrested and charged. Just stay as much as you can in their lives until they both leave for college. Show them that you, hubby, and cousin are with them no matter what happens after this display of entitlement. And that is the end of the story.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I resent my biological father, but he doesn't even know I exist. That's not good. The story I got told at 14 was that my dad wasn't my biological father. He was the man who married my mom after I was already born. And basically, my mom and dad thought at the time that I deserved to know this because a few people in our environment kept saying how I didn't look like him. And I was asking them if I was maybe adopted or something. By the way, this comes from, yes, of course I'm mad, on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. If you want to send your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit and send it in. Now, very little was spoken of the man that my mom got pregnant with, but the basic gist of it was that he didn't care about mom being pregnant. Didn't want a child in the first place, and then she didn't want anything to do with him any further. So she cut all contact. No child support because my mom's family is well off. I won't BS you and say that I wasn't hurt, but I got over it quickly enough with the help of my mom and dad. Sadly, mom and dad got a divorce last year. Just felt like they didn't love each other that way anymore, I guess. They're still good friends with each other though. No drama, for which I'm grateful. Still, this sort of prompted me into thinking about my biological father lately, and I ended up looking him up online. Don't know what I expected to see really, but he's just normal, I guess. I might have been thinking he'd have this kind of a-hole look to him because of how he rejected me before I was even born. But anyways, one night, after drinking more than I should have with some friends on a night out, I did a stupid thing and sent him a message, basically accusing him how he's a horrible, evil, and other less polite words because of how he abandoned me. So the next morning, after I actually remembered what I did, I saw his reply to me. It's polite, but confused, and he has no idea who I am or how I'm supposed to be related to him. I had my dad's last name, saying in the end that I probably got the wrong person and he wished me the best. I don't know, it just pissed me off even though I was sober and a bit hungover. So I fired up several paragraphs to him about exactly who I am, exactly who my mom is, and what he did to us. His reply came in the evening, and it was quite extensive, but I will sum it up for you. They broke up with each other on bad terms after they were together for a little over a year. She never mentioned any pregnancy to him, and when he tried to contact her later afterwards because he felt like crap over how it ended, she rebuffed him and blocked him, and that was the last time he tried getting in touch with her. Needless to say, me being pissed off at him was gone in a flash, and now my father was the one angry at my mom for doing this. I was wondering how to talk to my mom about what I found out, but I didn't have to bother because my father contacted her first and confronted her about hiding me from him. Whoa.
Oh, what a twist.
What a twist.
Not a deadbeat. Dad just
He's alive.
had no idea how to beat. Don't beat. Retake.
He's living on the beats. Living on the beats. Living on the beats. That's what he is.
That's the one. Saved me. Yeah. No. I can also understand the mom's position, but also like only at first. Like you gotta tell at some point. You gotta.
Mama, you done effed up. You done effed up. And daddy's coming for you now, and not that way.
Not that way.
Get your mind out of the gutters. Not anymore. Those days are long gone. We're getting to know each other slowly, mostly over the internet, though we talked a few times over video chat because he doesn't live in the same country as us. It'll be, maybe that was also a factor in it where it's like, he doesn't live, not that that excuses her or anything, but like living in different countries. That's crazy.
How long did he live in that country though? You know, it's like
that's true.
There's more information needed, but it's like there could be some situation in which that you would tell that, right? But not if it's untrue. This guy's didn't know he had a kid.
And now he's getting active. He's getting active.
Yeah, and he immediately seemed to be taking some level of responsibility
Come on.
by going, hey, why didn't you tell me?
It'll be time soon enough to meet IRL in real life, and I'm nervous as heck. But by all accounts and the way he's talked to me and held back on sharing with me the rest of the family, I think I'm going to like him a lot. Why the F did she do it? We're going straight into it. She says that she has no idea why she really did this. Blamed it on the pregnancy and stuff, but I don't see how the pregnancy could have influenced her for my whole life.
Exactly. That's the biggest nonsense BS answer.
Come on. I love her, but there's times that when it's just the two of us and I can't help but hating her for denying the both of us the chance to get to know each other as I grew up. I can tell my father's heard about this, though he doesn't talk about it directly, and my mom can probably guess how I feel, given that she just starts tearing up at times she sees I'm angry or being curt with her.
That doesn't feel like she gets it. That feels like she's trying to manipulate you into being less upset. Not gonna lie. Although it could be she does feel bad about it, but for her to be like, oh, I don't know why I didn't tell you, it was pregnancy hormones, that's BS. Yeah. So if she's already going to tell you that, feels like this is BS too.
I split in half, happy when I'm talking to my father, but mad like heck when I talk to my mom afterwards. I want all of this to get better, but at the same time, I want her to hurt. Wow. What do I do now? And there's some relevant comments.
Well, first of all,
please.
Just like, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
He's an emotionally charged like kid.
Yeah.
Right now.
You've been hit with a very sharp spike of emotional baggage to sort of compute all at once.
Yep.
But like taking vengeance against your mom is not going to make you feel any better. In fact, over time, it'll probably make you feel worse.
Yes.
So like, I think if you want to do anything, I would just try to get your mom to be honest and get more to the root of why did you do this? Because her excuse is BS.
So we got some relevant comments from no, 1,000 times no. I'd actually suggest you and your real father take a DNA test to verify things. That is a great idea. And your mother knows why she chose what she chose. It was only 17 years ago. Your dad who raised you might know something too. Did you ask him? Opie said, sorry, I wrote this in one go, completely forgot to put in his side of things. My dad had no clue either about what happened. He only came into our lives when I was around 3 to 4 years old, and he took what my mom said to him as the truth and didn't really know otherwise until I talked to him about it recently.
Wow.
And just another freaking,
yeah.
And the test was already done. He is my father. Mom keeps saying she really doesn't know. Little M. Sriri says, these kinds of things have become sticky and tricky. I would sit with your mom down and talk to her about this. Tell her about what you know. Tell her that you're angry deservedly and tell her that you don't want to be angry at her forever, but you don't know how to get past this. Opie says, I did talk with her, though I'll be the first one to admit that it was less of a talk and more of me just throwing out one question after another with her not answering and just crying. I just want to know why, and she's not telling me crap. I asked her if he was or if he cheated, if he did anything to deserve something like this, but no, he apparently didn't do anything wrong. My father says they were just people that clicked poorly at times and didn't communicate well, so it kept escalating until it just blew up in their faces. Again, they were teenagers. Well, he was. My mom's older than him by a few years, so that's no surprise. OP on her parents' ages when she was conceived. She was 24 when she got pregnant. My dad will always be my dad. The fact that I found out the truth about my father doesn't negate the relationship we have or the fact that he raised me as his own. He'll always be my dad, even if I grow close to my biological father, as I've grown close to my dad, my adopted dad over the years. And he knows this. I made sure of it. And says, I think you really have your math wrong. My father was 19 when he was with my mom, who's 5 years older than him, got pregnant. Even if he was 17, which he wasn't, it wouldn't matter since I just checked and the age of consent here is 14.
Oh
Yikes.
What the?
That is too young. Sidebar. But we do have an update coming in. I wonder if so he was 19 and she was 24.
Sorry, I'm still just slack jawed at 14. That's insane.
Well, we have the update. I found out why she told me the lie.
Oh boy.
That my biological father didn't want me.
Okay.
We're going to get the answer. Wow.
Okay.
It's maddeningly simple and stupid.
Ah, madness. I love madness.
She was basically getting to know my adopted dad, her now ex-husband, and he wanted to know about my father's involvement in our lives. Put on the spot, she made this ridiculous story about how he didn't really care for having a child. They didn't keep in touch, and over the years, it evolved into an effing theater play, which is what I got years down the line when I asked about my father. So she told the one little white lie and then just built the whole universe.
You built
around it.
Built a multiverse.
Yes.
Around.
We were in the
one
Peruvian
lie.
rainforest. We made passionate love amongst the branches.
Yes. And then that tiger came out of nowhere.
And I said, stop. And I shot you out at the tiger and bopped him on the nose.
That's right.
The tiger ran away and I held you in my arms for the first time.
And I said, I've never seen a man boop a tiger like that.
My dad, we're going to get the real story here. My dad, I guess, didn't want to put salt on the wound. So he just avoided the subject in the future until I asked about it. That's it. That's the whole reason why I didn't know my father for my whole life up until recently. No. Really. Because she didn't want to look like some spiteful, crazy woman who neglected to tell someone that they're a father. She made this up, which is some bitter irony for her because she does look like a crazy, spiteful woman with the lies she has told about my father. I am so mad at her. I can still barely control my anger around her. All I want to do is hurt her until she feels really hurt like I was when I found out I missed out on knowing my father all along and him getting to know me as well. Again, would not advise that. He is a 17-year-old hormone angst.
Yes, this is a teenager who needs therapy. Probably alongside his mom.
Yes. Agreed.
Hard
agree.
Probably not at first. I would probably say you want to do some solo sessions first and then bring mom in, especially if he's this angry. It's like...
Also agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a good plan. I restrain myself more often than not, but god dang, this isn't something that's going to be just pushed to the side. I don't know what we'll do now, and I know that sometime in the future, I'll probably reestablish having a good relationship with my mother, but right now, it's just not happening. But on the brighter side of things, I met my father.
Hey!
My bio daddy. Some people mentioned in the last thread that I should be careful how, when, and where I meet him. Someone thought that I would be flying out of the country to meet him, I think. But given how everyone that knew him back then and now had nothing good to say about him, I connected with my father's side of the family, plenty of cousins, aunts, uncles, and so on to talk with and meet, and it's a bit overwhelming with just how many of them there are and how overjoyed they were to find out about me. I gave him a few dates when we could meet, and he picked this last weekend. He flew back on Friday, visited his parents, my grandparents, and man, that's so weird how I have another set of grandparents the whole mix. I really don't know what I was expecting. I mean, yes, we talked and he seemed very understanding and kind and good and so very interested in meeting up with me. But I guess there was this just kind of effed up fear of him not liking what he actually saw and leaving. No, really, thanks for this crap, Mom. It didn't matter in the least. As soon as we met, there was just this moment. I don't know how to describe it. I don't really think I've ever had anything like that before. And he just hugged me and I could feel him shaking. I think he was holding himself back from crying. And I started crying for no real reason. And then we talked and just spent the rest of the day together. By the way, if you want more cute moments, if you want a lifetime of cute moments that you can spend every waking hour of your life listening to,
True.
Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite pod app, search OK Storytime, and listen to full episodes with stories just like this.
With stories just like this.
But we have just a little bit left here. Ooh, here we go. We pretty much spent the whole weekend together. From the moment I got up, we talked. And by the time he was boarding his flight, I didn't really want him to leave ever again. And he won't. Not really. He wanted to know everything about me. And I mean literally everything. And I guess what really made me actually love him is him asking to meet my adopted dad, asking me if that was okay with me, and then thanking him for his part in raising me. That is a class act move.
Dude, are we back in school right now? Because that was classy.
That was classy AF, dude. A lot of good male role models in these past few stories today.
This is good.
Great. We love this. They talked some more with each other while I was busy with something else, and I think they sort of became friends. I don't really know what to call their relationship. Co-dads.
I think, like, honestly, if I was in the like bio dad's position and I met the guy who like raised the kid that I never knew I had, I'd be like, hey, respect.
Yeah.
And I would hope they'd be like, also respect.
And he did nothing wrong. It was the mom that lied to everybody.
Yeah, God.
So it's like if we attack adopted dad, it's the equivalent of when someone goes and cheats and the person goes after the affair partner. It's like, nah, go after your freaking partner.
Right.
They're the one that cheated on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's the most pertinent part that you could go after.
come on, the priorities.
Yeah.
So to all of you who helped me deal with my effed up situation, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Even if it seemed like I was just venting out loud to the internet, thank you all. And that's the end of that story.
If you love us, make sure to subscribe
And we love you.
and
We'll
see you tomorrow.